shake my mind. Ain't no lemons, take a famine homes. I shake my mind. Ain't no lemons, take a demon homes. I shake my mind. Ain't no lemons, take a famine homes. Ain't no lemons, take a demon homes. I shake my mind. Ain't no lemons, take a famine homes.
Hi, it's Scott. I'm super chuffer. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear.
I shake my I hate no lemons, big up demon homes. I shake my ain't no lemons, big up demon homes. I shake my I hate no lemons, big up demon. I shake my ain't no lemons, big up demon homes.
Oh, Chicago! Right. It's all kicking off. It's all kicking off. It is all kicking off. Today, the show is called Did Social Media Solve the Jay Slater Case? I will be... Okay, yesterday's I was very critical. We need evidence. Where's the evidence? You can't say this. I want evidence. You know, all that. Today, I was going to dress it up like I was going to wear... Get me back on there. Get me back on. I was going to dress it up like it's the dark side. But I don't want to dress it up like it's the dark side. I'm happier looking like me. Are we running? Are we rolling? I just had a little glitch. No, we're rolling, aren't we? Yeah, we're rolling. So what we're going to do today is as I predicted yesterday, after what Mark Williams Thomas said, I thought social media would go a bit wild. And I think it's funny the way this is happening, but it's like every day, another thing, and it comes out in social media, and then it gets brought in, and then it gets put in, another day, another thing. This is not my opinion. I'm working on a slightly bigger piece. I don't know if it'll ever get there, the way this has gone. I was trying to work on a video, you know, saying some stuff, but things keep changing and happening. After what I did yesterday, I just think it's reasonable to do what I'm doing now, which is going to be... Hang on, that sounds a bit loud. Got the bloody compressor on. Sorry about that. That would have done the music. The music would have been massive as well, wouldn't it? Good start. Basically, long story short, people have been posting stuff on social media. They've solved the case. So we'll look at what they've said. Some of it is spurious conjecture. Some of it's conjecture. We're not going to talk about Blues and Villa. There's ups and downs. There's joys and sorrows too. We'll journey on. We'll sing this song for the boys in royal blue. We'll often partisan. We will journey on, and you'll cheer fucking Jude Bellingham all the way in the Euros. And we don't see Jack Grealish anymore. Look, we won't argue about silly things. I will remind you, of course, talking about arguing over silly things, it is Politics Day. Please go out and vote. If you haven't, you know, please get your ID and go out and vote. Get the Tories out. In your area, it might be Labour, it might be Lib Dem. One of those two will help get the Tories out. It won't be any of the others. Don't care about politics. It won't be any of the others. So just vote Labour, Lib Dem to get the Tories out, please. If you haven't already. No arguments about anything. Let's just have that. I've said it. I will be deleting political comments in comments. I don't want to have arguments about it. Let's just say I've said it, right? Yeah, so... I feel really weird about this, right? But let's do it. So, social media, this time, this lady, Helen Catherine, solved it. Basically. And this is the solve. So I'll jump right in, yeah? I mean, as we go through, I'll throw things in and out. There's more to come. There's this. There's a video about the watch. The special watch. Apparently there's a video of someone wearing the watch. There's all this talk of this man, the drug gangs. There is there's that, there's the watch. Oh, there's a fight that went on outside or inside a club. Jay stole the watch. There's all this. We'll look it all up. You know, I'll tell you what social media is saying. Then at the end, I'll talk a little bit. What I wanted to say at the start, really, is be careful. Like I said yesterday, I don't think we should just believe all this. I think we should wait for evidence, for police. I think we want to be careful about being driven by social media narratives. Okay? You want to be careful about that. Firstly, Jay Slater, machete gang. Do you remember Jay Slater done a machete attack? Like, as part of the video I was researching, I found the original news report. And this is not the original news report. As part of today, where I've had to go and vote. God, I've got so much on my plate. I've gone and voted, walked the dog. I haven't sat down to do this stream all prepared, yeah? With my previous research. So let's just... You know, you in chat, you've all heard this, yeah? I don't want to treat you like kids. You've all heard this. Jay Slater's a machete-wielding maniac, yeah? Like, he's grown up on an area where he's hidden under a car from some people on his estate when he was younger. How did he get into that? Probably a machete-wielding maniac, yeah? And there's been a party, and the machete-wielding maniac is with his mates. They've run some guy down, and they've smashed him up. And then they've had to get... Because they were so young, because they were in their 16, they didn't get the prison. And by the time they got sentenced, which was 2 years later, because the thing took time, by the time the process took time, the judge basically said, there's no point in sentencing you to to juvenile sentences, because you've basically done your time, like you've grown up, you've got jobs now, so, you know, it's going to be sort of a bit of a slap on the wrist deal. But they didn't, you know, they sort of got away with that, didn't they? 18-month community orders, and that 18 months... was 25 days worth of rehabilitation and unpaid work. But, like, you know, it could have been a lot worse. If they'd have got sentenced when they were younger at the time, it could have been that they potentially, I suppose, could have got more trouble. But I remember from reading the original article that the judge basically said, you know, since the sentence has come now that you're 18 and you've shown this move back into society, you've all got jobs now, like, you know, part of the sentence would have been to get you into work programs and do X, Y, Z. Anyway, you all know that he's a machete-wielding nutter, yeah? We'll come back to that later. That's a pin. I'm going to seed the idea there, and then we're going to come back to that later and talk about it. Social media has solved the Jay Slater case. This from Helen... You know, shouts out Helen Catherine. She's Scottish, doesn't like haggis. She's been posting about this case a lot. Oh, she's got. I mean, that's pretty raw. A man in some underwear. She's got some pretty strong opinions on politics there, about trans rights and agendas and stuff. There's more trans politics there. Okay. She's fans of Katie Hopkins. Fan of Katie Hopkins. It's funny, isn't it? Like, social media. Funny, isn't it? Like, very, very political. Very motivated politically. Also, she solved the Jay Slater case, so that's good. I can't help it. I wanted to give it like the social media angle, say it all, and then afterwards critique it. I critique it on the way, and I'll just tell you outright. I worry about social media accounts that have strong political allegiances, that have also got an agenda to get in on this and other things like this. The strong politics and the connection with the decision to get into stuff like... I mean, we know that someone like Peter Folding has got, like, strong politics, you know? There's just... how do I have this conversation? You love Katie Hopkins, yeah, fair play. She's a witch. She's a horrible witch. You're very much outnumbered by everyone else thinks she's a horrible witch. What I'm saying is there's obviously a connection there. The people that want to seed ideas in the social media, the people that want to manipulate your opinions, like they're the same people who are pumping out this about this now, in my opinion. Yeah. Anyway, we'll treat it with a bit of, I wanted to show you and say social media solved the Jay Slater case, didn't I? That's what I wanted to say. Is the background music background enough? Am I being talked up enough? Okay. Can you hear me over the background music? Everyone all right? This is so hard for me because I want it to be like, look, they've solved it. This is what everyone says. It all makes sense. And then let's pick it apart a bit and just, light-hearted. But just looking down her Twitter then, it gave me the alarm bells, the ringing alarm bells. Yeah. Okay. This is posted from Facebook or something, Jay Slater discussion, an anonymous post from the Jay Slater discussion. There's been a lot of these, and some of them have turned into things that Mark Thomas has said seems like, Mark Thomas could have looked at all the rubbish on Facebook and filtered it through and found like 5% of it and said this is actually true and the rest of it's rubbish. So it doesn't mean that Facebook's good if any of this turns out to be true. It means that there's an awful lot of rubbish and Mark Williams Thomas said some of it's true. Now this goes in there, in my opinion, I would never bring this to my channel. This would just stay in the rubbish box until we made it a fact by research with connections. But I just think it's fine to just do this today and just talk about it, okay? Did I ever watch the Darren G. Mark Williams Thomas interview podcast from a few years ago? No, I've watched a load of big ups ABC. I've watched a load of Darren G. I can't remember that one off the top of my head. I mean, I'd assume it would have gone through Sean Atwood in some way. I'd love to see it. I think I might remember a sort of feel, a vibe of it. I remember Sean going down with that lady and hanging out with him. Like, shouts out Darren G if you're ever watching, because like L5 shout, CalNat UK. Like, I think Darren's brilliant. Like, I think he's I just think he's cool. I just think he's speaks his mind. He's done his time, and he's got a positive message. We've talked about Darren before, haven't we? Anyway, this show's about this. And he lives near me, so I don't want him to come and murder me. So I think he's brilliant. Look, this is not fake, apparently. So we start off with this is not fake. Oh, it's so hard for me to go through it and not just rip it apart. But a lot of people will believe this stuff, and for a lot of people, this will be the truth for them. Okay? This is not fake. Lucy May is not innocent at all. I'm a close associate to Lucy, and others in Tenerife and Ibiza area. So, firstly, what I draw your attention to, I don't know if you can see this big enough to actually read it, because I want it to be, verified. Not that this is evidence. This is what someone said on Facebook, and I'm reporting it. And I'm reporting it with not just a grain of salt, but with like a warning rather than a disclaimer to be careful about what you believe on the internet. We're just gonna look at it. Yeah. This is not fake. Lucy May is not innocent at all. I'm a close associate to Lucy and others in the Tenerife and Ibiza area. Well, what the fuck are you doing, grassing yourself up on the internet then? Rumours are true. Lucy is a drug mule. We work together. About 20 of us split into groups. Half to Ibiza, half to Tenerife. This is our job. We get brought out every event, or any month in general, to deal. Now, yesterday I said, who's going to give a kid like Jay a load of drugs? Who's going to be dealing on the island with British people like this when there's loads of African connections and they use, they usually, you've seen it, like people call them the lucky men or whatever. They use African people. They don't tend to, I've not had experience buying loads of drugs in Tenerife or whatever, but from what I was led to imagine or believe, there was a drugs distribution network on the island, and it didn't involve people from the UK going out there and doing it. My big question would of course still be, where did the drugs come from? Because you're not going to be flying to Tenerife with a big bag of drugs, are you? Like, that would be like, when you talk about muling it, like you're talking about taking a large amount from a country like South America or Turkey or somewhere and bringing it back to the UK and then selling it on. Yeah, like muling it is bringing the big amount and then you give it to somebody else, they deal with it. You just shipped it across the border. So muling is a different term to what we would term county lines. This is what they're suggesting here in a way is like a international county lines, where the drug dealers all live in England and then they go out on holiday, source drugs from somewhere, maybe locally, or maybe they bring it with them, and then they distribute them on the island, make a load of cash, and then they have to go home with the cash or do something with the cash, which again, that's difficult because getting caught with cash is the same as getting caught with whatever through customs. Did you pack this bag yourself, sir? Yeah. And why did you pack 30,000, or in this case, upwards of 50 to 100,000 pounds of cash? But yeah, like, this is a possibility, though. This is what's being said. So I'm critiquing it in bits and pieces. But anyway, like, this is the story from social media, yeah? So we get brought out every event to deal. Depending on who you are or how long you've been doing it or what you've done, you'll get paid differently, like any business. Lucy is more the top dog in it. Lucy gets paid 25 grand a month to deal and sell drugs. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Like, getting paid to do that is a lot of money, yeah? And Lucy herself, it might be that this is correct. The top person in drugs enterprises may well be young ladies, I mean, in their early 20s. That might be the case. I would worry myself because that whole world, of course, is rife with, like, it's gangsters, isn't it? So it's rife with violent crime as well. And I don't know necessarily, I've not seen or heard many stories of young ladies rising through the ranks in this sort of violent drug underworld, but this may well be possible. It could be possible. I don't think it's as likely as people seem to think it is. I will keep an open mind. About 10 of us get 14 grand, and the new recruits get paid 5 grand. That's monthly, which is still a lot of money. Lucy met Jay at a festival and started discussing with him over Snapchat about how much we make doing all this. So there's there's another ringing alarm bell on this. If Lucy is top dog in a drugs distribution enterprise and she meets Jay Slater at a festival, why would she then grass herself up to Jay Slater on Snapchat? Like, if you say it out loud in someone's ear at a festival, then they have to, you know, that, like, do these people not understand how to do criminal? I don't want to give people tips here, because even EncroChat was busted, wasn't it? Well, they would use apps and they, like, you know, talk to each other, but like to sort of Snapchat it, maybe Snapchat is safe, maybe the criminals use Snapchat, but it would seem like she's basically just given recorded evidence of her being part of a drugs network, and to a randomer that's not that connected, that, like, seems like, to me, from what we've learned about Jay thus far, he seems like a little bit of a liability in many ways, doesn't he? If he were to be involved in something like this. So I haven't seen John Wick, the top dog can be female. Okay, I take it, you know, but Lucy's she would need some sort of protection. Like, you know, I'm all for equality and everything, but maybe it's a new world and maybe I'm wrong, you know, but she seems quite young, for one, and two, vulnerable to be the top dog. But maybe they mean, like, maybe they don't mean the top dog, maybe they just mean the top dog of the distributors. You know, she's like the one, the manager, and the others are like, you know, she's the rep, and, you know, maybe it's stuff like that they're suggesting. Because she's still getting paid to do this thing rather than, or apparently, you know, I'm not saying she is, I'm saying what they're saying is that she's getting paid to do this thing rather than like organising at the top end. Do you know what I mean? And maybe she flies under the radar in some way for that reason, I don't know. Well, not enough anyway, because they're all talking about it, and this one's grassed them all up. So this is going to cause, like, if this is true, if it were true, then this would cause huge ripples within the group as well, because one of them's grassing them all up. Lucy met Jay at a festival and started discussing with him over Snapchat about how much we make doing all this. You all good in chat? Let me just quickly, briefly have a bit of a browse. You're all good, aren't you? You're all good. So I can't concentrate on chat and read this at the same time. Listen, I'll be really critical and I'll be really, what's the word? Cynical, because I believe that we should question the narrative, like people say, you know, question the narrative, but we should look for evidence and answers. Not like if you believed everything you saw on social media, it's easy to say in hindsight, I saw this on social media 2 weeks ago, therefore social media is good, Facebook's good, because amongst it was a load of other crap. So you couldn't believe everything, and some people believe this and some people said that, and this is still going on, but it doesn't mean to validate this, is what I'm saying. So I'm going to be cynical and critical until I get evidence, just like I should be. And I'm cynical and critical of everything, aren't I? When they do their interviews, when people, you know, I do all that, so I'll be cynical and critical of this too. Lucy met Jay at a festival and started discussing with him over Snapchat about how much we make doing all this, how it's a luxury, and we basically live the life. Jay came along to Tenerife and met me and Lucy there. Lucy explained the danger to Jay. So am I to assume that Jay went to Tenerife without being already in the gang? And that this is his first entry? I'm assuming this is, when he says that, he doesn't mean Jay came to Tenerife last year. He means Jay came to Tenerife this year and met us all there. Lucy explained the danger to Jay. If we fuck up, we're basically dead. Our bosses take disrespect to heart and do not tread lightly. From past experiences and what we've witnessed, full stop, right? So that was a comment, sorry. Our bosses take disrespect to heart and do not tread lightly from past experiences and what we've witnessed. We got dropped backpacks of packs, estimated about 17 grand, to sell and dish at the festival or in the streets in general. Mal, come in. Come in. Come on. Again, this is like really massively, like, if you're worried about this gang and that they do things to you, then I really would be surprised that you'd post this on Facebook, even anonymously. And it really helps with certain other people. Like, you remember, that I'm going to critique along the way, I suppose. Some of this stuff really think you might jump to this is what it is, that's the truth, right? Okay, it's the truth. But somebody else might have an agenda to make you believe this is the truth. And this might really help some people and not others. So just be careful about, you know, what we're believing here, because I would be very surprised if someone would, in one sentence, type about how dangerous it is to go against the management, and in another sentence be like, yeah, then we got these bags and they were given to me by this man. Yeah, anyway, so we're talking about 17 grand's worth. I don't know what this, that could be half a kilo of cocaine, or it could already be put into wraps, so they could be individual little bags, in which case it'd be a smaller quantity, but it's still quite a lot. From the talk that gets talked on this, it sounds like it's ecstasy pills, and again, like, you know, you could be talking about £10 a pill, so like, still quite a lot of pills. Do the maths. Like, thousands. It's a lot. It's still a lot, you know, and if there's 5 of those bags going around this small island, maybe they just flood the island with the drugs, you know, maybe they do. I guess it screams a little bit like, you know, it feels a little bit like the county lines stuff, because county lines is funny, because I thought it was county lines meant going across county lines, but it means the line, the number they call. So someone sits somewhere with the bag, and then everyone else goes and brings in the customers, and the bag is just like the base point, isn't it? But yeah, okay, so we get these bags, and we sell them and dish them out. There are 5 bags, and we got given designated bag holders who would have the bag 24/7, then take out however much anyone needed. Lucy had a bag, along with me and also Jay. So there's only 3 of them that have bags, right? We know Lucy's not typed this, and we know Jay's not typed this, so they've just identified themselves to the management. No, wait, I'm wrong there. There's 5 bags. Sorry, there's 5 bags. I got it wrong. They only named 3 names, sorry. Got that wrong. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Got that wrong. There's 5 bags, Lucy, Jay, and this person. So there's 3 of them that have got bags, and one of them is the grass. I'm still, that's this. I know that's more vague. It could be one of any 3, but if I was the management, I'd probably just dispose of all 3. you know, if I was managing a business, I might fire all. No, I couldn't do that in the UK. It's different trade unions descriptions in drug dealing, though. I worry about this person who would post this and make it even more clearly identifiable by saying that they are one of the people with the bag. I'd worry about that. Okay, but they've got the bag as well, right? We separate into groups and go our ways to sell. Well, they didn't do that, did they, necessarily? We know that Lucy and Jay were basically in the same location. Okay, there was a big festival going on, so maybe you take 2 bags to the festival. Again, are we saying that we're going to take a rucksack full of drugs? Alexa, what's 17,000 divided by 10?
17,000 divided by 10 is 1,700.
I mean, a bag of 1,700 pills is going to be about so big, like a small pillow. Yeah, and you're not going to want to dip into that and get handfuls of pills out during the rave, are you? This is the sort of thing you'd expect from somebody else. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it, Peter, is I'm sort of giving a counterpoint to what I did yesterday. I'm saying this is what the social media is. I'm saying I don't bring this up on my streams. I don't treat this like evidence, and I'm critiquing it along the way, sort of thing. So fair comment, yeah. I just thought that what would happen today, like yesterday I said, Mark Williams Thomas has done this thing, and what's going to happen as response to it is he's pour gasoline on the social media, there's going to be an explosion from social media, and you'll probably get like one new thing tomorrow, and then the next thing, new thing the next day, and then the next thing, new thing the next day, and it'll piece, and and eventually you might get a full narrative that has always been there in social media. They've always been saying it, but it's going to be legitimized day by day, and it's a very strange process because the legitimacy is coming from people like Mark Williams Thomas and not the police. So maybe until the police legitimize it, and it could be this. And listen, if in 2 or 3 weeks the police come out and say this is all the truth, then I stand, well, not corrected, just like, because it's not wrong for me to not believe things without any evidence, but I'll be like, wow, you know, there you go. But I'm very suspect of the mechanisms that are going on here, and I'm interested about the people who are posting these truths on social media. I've already seen this person that's posted this Helen person. Although I might not agree with their politics, that's beside the point. They are heavily right-wing political, and I believe that the heavy right-wing political people, the right-wing politics, you look at what happened with QAnon in America and the way it fueled the votes for Trump. I think there's a combination between manipulating people directly with this is a political thing I want you to talk and think about, whether they be men in the changing rooms for the ladies' changing rooms or something, or this is, I know, Paul, I know it was a joke. I know, I can do it. You just take the 0 off. I know. Give me another maths question. Listen, the political people, the way the right-wing media work on that is they get people, like, there were people who'd be very critical thinkers and they'd be politically motivated, and now they're confused by conspiracies and sort of shepherded into right-wing politics through conspiracy and nonsense on Facebook. So they don't just work on a direct political angle, they work on this other sort of nonsense angle as well. And I worry about this being perpetuated by that sort of group of people. So that's, you know, a bit of an overview there. Shouts out Trump 2024, big ups Robert. Grab a right by the... Anyway, look, so there was these bags. I've got a button for that, haven't I? I've got a button for that.
Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail.
We're not having the political... Thanks, Julie. No thanks. Don't vote reform. That's stupid. Go out and vote, but don't vote reform. Thanks. Bye. You're not banned, but please don't put those political messages in my chat. Thanks. Trump 2024 is funny, but I'm not even going to have the conversation about it. Just please don't come with that rubbish. So we've got these bags. They're out there with the bags. They've all got bags. They've got between them about 3,000. So what do we say? 30,000 ecstasy pills. How many? I just want to quickly check though. Right. Let me just check. Right. The NRG Festival. Tenerife. Yeah. Like, the size of the festival, like, look how big it is. It's like a big club arena thing, but it's like a small football pitch or something, yeah? And there's a bunch of people here. Like, there must be, 2,000 people. It's like you've got enough for everybody to have 10 pills. Like, I know they're there for 3 days, but that's a lot of drugs for those people at the festival. Just between the two of them, like, you've got 3 other bags floating around the island somewhere else, I'm guessing, because between Lucy and Jay, they've got about 30. Anyway, yeah. We separate into groups and go our ways to sell. Lucy had a bag along with me and also Jay. We separate into groups and go our ways to sell. Lucy then gets a phone call from Jay at about 3 a.m. Monday morning, him crying, saying he's lost the bag. So they weren't together then. They were separate. He's crying, he's saying he's lost the bag. Lucy didn't think of it until he told her that he's taken half of them himself already, and the bag was stolen. So this is an issue, because taking half of the product himself is, I've seen it done. But that's a lot of drugs. Mark Williams-Thomas said that he was fairly lucid when he came out of the club. Well, he didn't say lucid, that's a word I applied to it, but he said that he was talking to people outside the club. So if you've taken half a bag of drugs that you've got to sell, and that's a lot of drugs, you are going to be in a fucking state. Crying, that's not the report that we got from Mark Williams-Thomas. We've got conflicts. Also, she didn't think anything of it when he called her to say he'd lost the bag. I mean, that's an issue. Of course, we all panic as our lives are at stake here. Well, your life's not at stake. Like, if I was holding my bag and this other fucker in our team had lost his bag, do you know what I'd do? I'd go straight to the boss, hand him my bag, and I'd be like, there's going to be trouble tonight, boss. Can I take the night off? That fucker's getting us in loads of trouble. Look at him, he's a mess. Bye! And like, let the boss deal with it, wouldn't you? There's no way you're going to all get yourselves like, oh, let's all help Jay. We just met him. Most of us have just met him, and he's about to bring down our entire operation, send us all to prison, and maybe get us killed. So let's all help him out. Yeah. They panic because their lives are at stake. Okay. This is someone's business, and we've lost them £6,000. We go and meet Jay. And again, it's we now. It's all of a sudden it's we. Right? All of a sudden it's we. We've lost them £6,000. So what I'm considering here, again, this anonymous person, if they're real, if you're like, because they said they split up to go and sell the drugs, yeah? Maybe they do consider themselves a very tight-knit group. We've lost them £6,000. Maybe the boss would just say it that way. Hey, Lucy, where's the money? Oh, I'm £6,000 light. Jay's done it. I don't give a fuck about Jay. Lucy, where's the money? Like, maybe it's that. But, listen, counting squares, you chuffer. I will ban, I just literally said it then, so I'll ban you, because Farage, just naming him, gets you banned. No, in a positive way. Nigel Farage bailed on you after he shepherded you towards Boris Johnson. So he's just a shepherd, a Tory shepherd, and he was a Tory in the 80s. He's only done what he's done because it's made him money, and he's behind the scenes a Tory anyway. He'll vote Tory, so. Right. They separate into groups and go their ways to sell. And that shouts out Dover and Dolly's. If you see anyone promoting political agendas of the right wing, like Nigel Farage, they can go in the bin straight away. So we separate into groups. I'm saying this, if you're a group and you're all together as a gang, it might be that you take the fall together, yeah? But again, like, Lucy gets a phone call crying. Of course, we all panic as our lives are at stake. This is someone's business and we've lost them £6,000. But you didn't. You've got your bag, you've got your money, you're all tidy and in order, so you've lost them nothing. So you don't feel like you've lost them £6,000 unless you're like Jay's mate. You know what I mean? Unless you're Jay's mate. Also, could this be written, this is an option, by someone who knows this stuff but has not really got a bag, so wants to pretend they've got a bag to throw people off the scent? I don't know. There's going to be trouble at mill if this is all true, isn't there? Big ups, Nicola Nick. Thank you. Welcome to member. And by being member, you get access to some members' content. And I will endeavour to put something up this month. I will endeavour to do that. To have a little think about something nice and interesting that we can put up members-wise.
I can't believe it.
I will.
I just don't believe it.
I will. Chuffing. Okay. What's this button?
Brian Batonte.
Oh. This is someone's business. We've lost them £6,000. I'm not doing a full statement analysis on this. Like, I don't know if it's worth it, but we go and meet Jay and Lucy tells him, we go and meet Jay and Lucy tells him how she doesn't know what she's going to do or what she's even going to say. I mean, that's going to be a difficult conversation because he's crying. He's fucked off his nut. There's another option as well. How are you crying about losing the bag if you've taken half the bag? I mean, you might be scared. I mean, I really wonder about Jay's ability to take all these drugs. Maybe he didn't take half of them and he just said it because, like, but why would he say it if he hasn't got the bag on him? Like, I don't know. Anyway, look, he's crying now and she's basically telling him not to calm down, just that it's fucked. At around maybe 5 a.m, our bosses ring, as that's the time they come to our current location to collect the remaining packages and the money. Ooh, 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 isn't it? Hang on, isn't it? Whoa, we'll get to him in a minute. Whoa, that's because those men came down, didn't they? And picked him up. Are they the bosses? Whoa, whoa. It's all falling into place. Well, handy that you've had half of the pieces. Anyway, look. They come down at 5 a.m. to collect the remaining packages and the money. And now, if that's a routine thing they're doing, I would hope the police on the island have got their wits about them and can see these men collecting, like, it would just look really, like, the reason they tend to use, and I don't want to be, I feel like I'm almost racist when I'm saying it, but, like, it's the truth, isn't it? They use African immigrants. Meow. Meow. Okay, me. They use African immigrants because they don't give two shits if they get picked up and caught with the drugs. They're not going to grass anyone up. They don't know anyone to grass up and leave them and let them go to prison. Like, they're what's the word? They're disposable and they're very hungry. You know, they're illegal immigrants. They're very hungry. Like, when I say hungry, I mean generally. And that's easier, isn't it, to use those people? On the other hand, you have less chance of getting them into the clubs, I suppose, don't you? And like less chance of getting them, you know, around in certain areas of the island, and this might not even be that established drugs network. It might be a county line style thing. So if you don't want political debate, don't encourage it. I don't encourage it, Scouse Mouse. I've been discouraging it. This is my channel. I will tell you to go out and vote, and I will tell you who I think you should vote for. But this is this is not a political channel, so I don't want to encourage political debate. So I've said we're not having a debate. I'll tell you what I think, and you can either accept that you've heard it. Well, you have to accept you've heard it because you've heard it, and that's it. You just have to be able to deal with not being able to have the debate in chat. Sorry. I'm giving you a lot of time as well, so like, bless you. Like, I'm not angry at you. I just like chill. They'll stand out in the clubs. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, maybe it gives them. You know, maybe this is a different angle, but. I forgot what you see. Don't get distracted because I kind of forgot what my point was, but it was only a point about the use of the drug dealers, wasn't it? The use of the labour force. Also, you don't have to pay them that much. Anyway, the bosses, and also, like I was going to say, that's the other point, is there's so many of them stood around selling all sorts of shit on the streets that's how they use, like, they've got cover, is the word for that, cover. Whereas this team of drug dealers don't have the same cover. Their cover is, they're at the event, they're holiday makers, and it's not the same sort of cover, is it? Plus, most holiday makers don't get picked up at 5 a.m. with bags of money or drugs regularly. Like, you know, it's a small island, and they're saying there's a routine about this. And a routine like that on a small island, like, I mean, ultimately the drug dealers could be paying off the police, I suppose. You can lay another layer of conjecture upon it. But it's a small island, and routines like that get you busted, even over a sort of 2 or 3 day period. There's cameras, there's police, you're picking up random, like, routines like that get you busted. Okay? I don't know where Lucy is now. Right. We all panic, our lives are at stake. I want to take that what you said in chat there, someone, Sue. You said you feel he's been held in a place and you don't think he's passed yet. I think he probably is dead. I think if you're holding him hostage, all this heat turns into it. Like, when I say heat, I mean attention. All this attention is an absolute nightmare, and the best thing you can do, and it echoes of Nicola Bulley here in certain people's ideas. If she was being held hostage, maybe the idea was you'd get her back if you paid us the money, but maybe things went wrong and you did get her back, but not the way you wanted. And maybe it's better for everyone if you don't get her back alive, because she can talk. And there's all this, like, she'd have to do interviews and the telly and all this. Like, you know, at this point, I worry that if someone was holding him hostage, it would be better for them just to murder him and throw him in the sea and hope that he does or doesn't get found, and nor do they. Because when they release him, people want to ask him questions, and whatever he says is going to be... Like, there's less chance of you getting busted if you murder him than if... actually, I just realised it's on top chat, not live chat. I apologise. There's less chance of you getting busted if he's dead and no one knows where he is. Big ups, Paul. How you doing? How you doing? Big ups, Paul. Thank you for the super chat. Lucy didn't tell him on the phone that Jay had taken half already. Half of the drugs, man. Half of the drugs. She didn't tell him that. And she didn't tell him that he'd lost the bag on top of that. Around 30 minutes later, they come to collect and they realise there's only 4 bags. We all get questioned. And that's when Lucy... Can't see that word. That's when Lucy tells him what Jay has done. He went back into his... And it stops there. That's where the picture stops. We solved it though, haven't we, look? Because she says, remember Lucy's associate who posted a detailed account of how they were drug mules, said their boss would meet him around 5 a.m. to pick up the money. Ayub Qasim, a convicted dealer, picked him up and took him to the Airbnb. It's all looking very sus. So there's our next bit, isn't it? There's this, right? And it's now... Mark Williams Thomas said that he would leak the image of this person if they didn't come forward. Like, he threatened them, right? I'm assuming they didn't come forward because this picture was released, wasn't it? We all know this. Like, if you're following this, you all know this. You have the 5 screenshots of all of that. Big ups, Kaz. Do you want me to read them all? Like, I think we've covered the main bit there, like, because that's what... Like, maybe I could look at them all. I don't know what they're going to say, so... but this is the man, isn't it, apparently? It's a different name to the one that Mark Williams Thomas said, but they've traced it back to Ayub Qasim. This is his mugshot from 9 years ago when he was convicted of dealing drugs in Wales, large amounts, crack heroin. Been to prison 9 years, and it says Spanish police hunting for Jay have already spoken to him and the unnamed friend he was travelling with, known only as Johnny Vegas. Of course, I'm unaware. I mean, my problem here, right, is that if that is the man that was at the Airbnb, and if that picture of that man there is that man, and it looks a lot like him, to this, I'm saying, right, this is something you've got to take into account. Some people don't think that Peter Folding is the man in the video that on Nicola Bulley case solved, yeah? Well, like, if he's not that man in that video, then this isn't this man, because they look very similar. Big ups, Kaz. Thank you for your membership. They look very similar, you know, but they've got different names. Mark Williams Thomas told us a different name. Could be different names. But yeah, so they look very similar. We've got that man. He is the... like, they've not said he's the one that's doing the drugs in Tenerife, but you were to assume now, because he's been to prison for 9 years for dealing drugs, and he's a bad man, then he's a bad person, and he's now in Tenerife drugs boss, and Jay Slater and all his mates are working for him. And that's why he went back to his cottage, because he's lost the bag and he's a naughty boy, right? He insists the team came to the house alive and left the house alive. Did they speak to him? Speaking exclusively to the Mail Online today, not to Mark Williams Thomas, he said, the only comment I have to make is Jay came to the house alive and left the house alive. I let the geezer stay at mine because he had nowhere else to go. His friends had all left him. So he is now the man at the Airbnb, according to the comment from the Mail Online. I mean, according to the Mail Online, saying that he spoke exclusively to them. His friends had left him. I know Jay through friends. I'm not going to bring someone back to mine if I didn't know them. I'm doing the geezer a favour and now my face is all over the news. It's a bit mental. I haven't done anything. Now he's back at his family's flat in Barking. In 2015, he was the ringleader of the drugs gang. 9 years, 9 months. He insisted he had no argument with Jay and had even given him a blanket to sleep in. Well, this is strange because the blanket that Jay is supposed to be wearing is supposed to have come from one of the properties that they were staying at. And there is a photograph of that blanket on the bed in the property that they were staying at, rather than from him. But maybe he's got a similar blanket at their Airbnb. He added, if I'd fallen out with him, would have even come to mine? There were no problems. You've seen the images of him with his red blanket around him. I don't know if he had beef elsewhere because I don't know him that well. I only know him through friends. And it talks about Mark Williams Thomas. Kasim said he's only spoken to authorities in Tenerife. He said, I've spoken to the Spanish police and they told me not to speak to anyone, which is why I've been quiet. I've not spoken to Mark Williams Thomas or anyone like him because he doesn't have any jurisdiction in Tenerife and I haven't done anything wrong. Asked how well he knew Jay and what he thought of the conspiracy theories, Kasim said, everyone knows each other. I'm not going to slander anyone. He's a cool guy, Jay. He ain't got a problem with me. I ain't got a problem with him or his mates. We all just talked to each other and everything was sweet. There's Lucy, look. There's Lucy May. There's the Brad interview. So there you go. The witness saw him after the bus, etc., etc. So he's given a statement to the Mail, which we haven't seen him talking. But we've got that now. Who is the other bloke? That's what I'm about to come to. Johnny Vegas. He said the bloke's known only as Johnny Vegas. Now, we were talking, weren't we? Just give me 1 sec to get this up. Just give me a minute to get it up. It's give me a minute to get it up. I promise, it'll work, I'm not paying extra. Stop the clock. Do you remember the watch? Yes, you do, don't you? The watch, it's supposed to be a Rolex, but it's not a Rolex. What's going on? It's a Rolex, but it's not a Rolex. You know that one? Will it not come up here? Why am I not able to get it up from my bookmarks? This one. There you go. The Rolex. It's a Rolex. It's not a Rolex. It's an AP. I don't know if I can pronounce it correctly. I say Piaget. You know, it's an expensive AP watch, yeah? Not a Rolex. Everyone was talking about a Rolex. And then they were like, oh, it's not a Rolex. I mean, did he steal 2 watches? Ended up getting thrown out of there with the 2 Mali kids. Some people are suggesting now that this man is Somalian and that he might have been the man that Jay got kicked out of there with, which is strange because obviously he's the drugs boss as well. Apparently. Yes, ended up thrown out there with the 2 Mali kids, just took an AP off some cunt to sell for 10 quid. And I still don't believe that 10 quid is 10 grand. I've never heard that in my life. But apparently it's 10 grand. You can't see the watch which he's holding on his wrist. You know, it's all of this is very vague, isn't it? All of this is very vague. Is he in interior of a taxi now? Because it appears to be like he's holding his arm up, but like there's this you know what, come on Scotty Hottie, what's this? We're back on. Ob's just disconnected, reconnected. Reconnection successful. I should still be rolling. It is 10 grand you're saying. I've never heard it in my life said like that. And again, implicating himself, incriminating himself in a crime. Is this what criminals do these days? Because if you were a drug dealer and you were operating on that island and this was one of your network and they'd sent out this Snapchat, wouldn't you get hold of them and just say, hey, stop sending out Snapchats implicating yourself in crimes? Also implicating me in a crime if I'm the Somali. Like, I think that would be strange. So he doesn't seem like he's really high off eating all the drugs, and he doesn't seem like he's lost the bag if he's on his way. Or maybe he got that watch in order to sell it to those people so that he could reclaim the money. Maybe the Somalians isn't this man, you know, ifs, buts, maybes and all of this, yeah? Also, if you're in a club, there was I'm not going to show you the video because I can't be asked, because it's just like two people stood outside a club, just like, you can't really tell what's going on, and there's this one is Jay. But there's a video, social media, it's been around, of people arguing outside a club. There is a news report of an Eastern European losing a Rolex. Now, people are questioning doody-doo. They're not going to show it here. It said, where is Rolex, man? It would have been an older news report, though, wouldn't it? GP News has it. Again, the right-wing news has it. Interesting. Burly Eastern European man could be key, having lost a 12 grand Rolex. Maybe I should have got my ducks in order, really, because, like, I don't like to, you know what I'm saying about the social media shit, but the concept, because people are asking, like, how did he get the watch off this person's wrist? The concept, according to what I've seen, according to social media, would be that they had a fight outside the club, or in the club. There was a scuffle, and during that scuffle, the watch came off the wrist, and Jay's basically picked it up and run off with it. If he's going to sell that to his drug dealer bosses, how on earth are they going to give him 10 grand for a watch which is basically hot, part of a crime? The police are on the island potentially looking for it. Like, doesn't that sound a bit, if you'd lost a 30 grand watch, this watch is, if you'd lost a 30 grand watch, would you report it to the police? The concept, look at my inbox, RE Rolex. Yeah, I've seen Rolex ecstasy tablets. They're not new to me. Yeah, like, this is not, we're not talking about, like, Mark Williams Thomas is the one that mentioned the word Rolex. Yeah? There is a report of a man on the island having lost a Rolex, not a, like, you know, a luxury watch. Not like one ecstasy tablet. Like, if you said Rolexes, but like not one ecstasy tablet. I know there's a confusion there, but this is, we are talking about watches. We are talking about watches. I should have got, you know, I don't know if I really want to show you a video that's like, you know, that video of people on the beach, it's pretty rough and you can't really, you know, there's a similar video of people arguing and talking outside a club. Can't even bring it up quickly now. I understand the concept that Rolex, I've discussed it in yesterday's video anyway, so don't worry about that. Like, it's not, it's the way the language is being used is not that it's, you know, they're talking about bags and packages and stuff. To say I've lost a Rolex, or the Rolexes, you know, the plural, or the, like, I just think it's just not, even if you had a branded tablet in your bag, I don't know if you'd still refer to it specifically like that. Yeah, I understand the confusion, but like, so yeah. Oh, like chuffing around now. Eastern European Jay Slater. Is there not even a picture of like the screenshot of the thing? I feel like I should have got my ducks in order on this one, because I'm telling you what I've seen on social media, and now I'm just doing this awful thing of just telling you what people said and this and that. But it's reported in the right-wing news who are perpetuating this story about the burly Eastern European man who allegedly Jay said he stole the watch from. Well, he didn't say he stole it from him. Jay didn't, right? But police have been looking into a late-night fracas at a nightclub which reportedly erupted after a burly Eastern European man said his 5-figure value Rolex had been pinched. The fight at Papiaga Beach Club prompted detectives to scour CCTV. Williams claimed that after leaving a club, Jay Slater had shared an image to the media site Snapchat saying he had a Rolex. Well, that's not what he did, according to the Snapchat, which is on social media. So there's confusion. And I think the Rolex fight with the Eastern European happened at a slightly separate place. But the people who point on the CCTV point to a blurry image and say that could be Jay there. And the concept would be that the Rolex had fallen off the man's wrist during the fight and he picked it up. How else is he going to steal this off somebody? Or you muscle somebody and you say, give me your watch. And he's not in that position, right? And if you do it with 2 Mali kids, if there's 2 other people with you that have been stealing a watch with you, having a fight, how come they haven't got a third on the watch? How come they're happy for you to walk off with it? So all seems a bit weird. I want to bring the watch. The reason we want to keep talking about the watch, right? And I want to show you this next thing. And bookmarks. There's another person who solved the Jay Slater case on the internet. This guy's quite interesting, in a way. This is Nick Rose on Twitter. I don't know that much about him, yeah? I don't know that much about him. I haven't seen strong political. He said, don't forget to vote. Oh, he's reform, look. He's reform. So he has got political ideas. He's got Jay Slater ideas. Just like that other woman, you know, he's got political ideas, Jay Slater ideas. He's not very happy about Sadiq Khan. And he's got Jay Slater ideas. He's a crypto bro who's encouraging you to buy cryptocurrency. He does crypto bros, he does supplements, he does Alex Jones, he does crypto bros, he does Joe Rogan Experience. I don't know if he does Alex Jones, I mean Joe Rogan Experience, sorry. But Alex Jones does the supplements, doesn't he? He does supplements, crypto bros, memes. That's Andrew Tate and his men with the faces on. So, you know, he does these memes and this stuff. He's like pumping his stuff out on social media. He's definitely on social media pumping stuff out because I want to, crypto bros, people about immigration, talking about children. It's not just that immigration's bad, which is good because he's not just saying immigration's bad, but he's got lots of stuff that he's American politics there, crypto bros. I just wanted to find this one video where there's Jay Slater. There's Nigel Farage. You see, there's Reform. Oh, that's something about the Islams. Oh, Tristan Tate. Reform. Oh, I see. Oh, this is getting a bit, isn't it? It's getting a bit. Yeah, it is, isn't it? The video I wanted to see, I want to show you, is this one first of all. He's got really something very interesting to say about the watch, and you're going to need to see it, okay? Well, you're going to want to see, you don't need to see it. Anyway, look. But this is something that I'd like to show you first about what he said. Where is he on my list? Because it kind of gives me more of a bit of a perspective on it. This is it.
Videos for a fucking long time. Because it's all. I'm not done one of these videos.
A bit of a perspective on him. It makes me feel, I'll tell you straight, it makes me feel like he reminds me of other YouTubers that I've been criticising recently in different ways. It makes me feel like his main thing is to be on social media and make a go of that for whatever reasons behind the scenes. He's slightly different to some of the other YouTubers, but once you're up there and you've got a bit of an audience on social media, then you start pumping out this political or get involved in this. You've got a voice, you're an influence. It's a very interesting way of conducting behaviour, and it might not be motivated by all the things that normal people on social media are motivated by. It's a bit of a strange one to me, and typified by this video here. I don't want to do loads of conspiracy theories here myself, really, but you know that I don't trust a lot of the nonsense out there, and I think we should question people. This is one that, I'll tell you what, basically the easiest way to say it is Chris's Substack is going to have this guy down as some sort of plant, like...
I've not done one of these videos for a fucking long time, because it's all been about crypto, hasn't it? Fucking hell, crypto, taking over your life. Anyway, I'm going to start banging on about you starting to make some content using this phone to stop consuming other people's content like this, but you can
Well, obviously, you want me to still watch you.
still watch my stuff and like
Yeah, I can still watch you.
Start making some videos.
Start making some videos.
I know I started talking about this a while ago, but if you want your life to change, you ain't going to do it by continuing to do the same things that you've always done, going to the same job, all of those things. I've banged on about this for ages. This silly little phone in your hand and this app TikTok or Twitter or Instagram, whatever it is, can seriously change your life.
So it echoes another YouTuber that I criticised for saying that they didn't want just a normal life like normal people, a normal job, holiday, kids. They want something more. He's going to change his life by using social media to talk on the internet.
I've not changed my tune on this at all. 6 videos a day.
6 videos a day is a lot.
I was speaking to somebody in I think it was a Telegram voice chat or something.
Telegram? I hear certain groups use Telegram. I can't remember which ones. Telegram, I've heard that used by certain groups before.
Yesterday.
Probably crypto.
One of the crypto groups that I'm in. And they were saying, but I've got nothing about my life that's interesting for people, or what do I make content on? How do I make money online? And what I said to him was, if you won the lottery tomorrow and you never had to work another day in your life, your family's life were all secure financially, what would get you out of bed in the morning?
I'd stay in bed with a certain Nicole Kessinger.
Because you'd be in jail.
Yeah. I'd be in bed with a couple of saucy brown bikini girls. I wouldn't get out of bed if I won the lottery, mate.
Now, it might take you a little bit of a
They'd break my pelvis before I got out of that bed.
while, if you'd won the lottery, to really find the motivation to get out of bed, because you'd probably be out partying and holidays, I don't know. But once the dust had settled, what is it about you that you could do for the rest of your life?
Well, probably just talking to my phone about like crypto and the news and stuff like that, I suppose, yeah. As Nick has done until he got into this Jay Slater thing. And like many people do on social media, you know, they start talking about a true crimey sort of, you know, thing and having opinions, and like their opinions get shared and blown up, and like they seem just like a normal everyday you and me, don't they? So it's a different way to sort of feed information in. And it might be that this guy is just a normal everyday you and me, just trying to make his way on the YouTubes. You know, it might be that. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying I'm surprised. This is the big thing that happens with my thing, is that a lot of people are prepared to believe a lot of stuff on social media. A lot of people want to question the narrative and have a lot of, you know, we'll call them conspiracy ideas, yeah? Let's just, you know, call a spade, like conspiratorial ideas. Conspiracy theories, whatever, and like then they hear people like this and they say, right, well, this is the truth because it's just come from this guy walking around with his phone. He's seen it on social media, so it's not the establishment and it's not people trying to feed you ideas. This is obviously just the truth, isn't it? And like they believe stuff just at face value off social media, which surprises me. And when I look into people's background who are telling us this stuff, this is the second one now that's going to tell us something quite extraordinary on social media, and it's really interesting, right? But they're also involved in pumping out political, fairly right-wing ideas after having tried to just gently build a sort of social media platform talking about something. So as he said, the advice is, like, if I was trying to set up a social media person on as just, you know, have fun on social media, it might be similar advice. You might just want the views. You know, you're right. You might just want the views, or just to be a bit campfire thinking. Hang on, I've got a picture of a campfire here. Look, just to be a bit campfire thinking, right? Like, you know, a bit sort of ghosts and spooky, like. Bit Mulder and Scully. I'm Mulder for a minute, you know, I want to believe, yeah? If I was to be in the MI5 and setting up agents on the social medias, wouldn't I just want to set them up like everyman, like just normal people, and just get them going and build like, don't go out there straight away and blow your cover. Just get going, just like, you know, build a bit of a profile. You don't have to be the biggest one in the world. You just have to talk about something you enjoy. And then when there's a thing that we need to pump out disinformation and misinformation, just start, you know, feeding in, influencing, pushing an agenda. Like, I don't know, maybe they're just doing it personally because they just want to get views. Yeah, like maybe that's just campfire thinking. So put campfire thinking away again, and you know, let's go back to well, let's hear what he's got to say, I suppose. Yeah, this is quite interesting.
So I made one Jay Slater video earlier on today, and I've had loads of people reach out to me actually, and I've been sent something that I'm going to show you at the end of this video. Now, I've got to be careful because I don't want to incriminate certain people. The video I'm going to show you, it makes a lot of sense after today's breaking news about a watch. But the name I've heard, so I wouldn't be the first person to say it. I'm sure you can all work it out. It's a name that's been bandied around from one of the two men that apparently Jay went up to the Airbnb, or at least was with these people.
So he's being cryptic. I won't be. He's talking about this, what do we call him? Mr. Porky. What was his name? Fuck, what was the guy's name? He's talking about the Mr. Porky. I've got too many windows now. What was the guy's name? Johnny Vegas, not Mr. Porky. I don't know why I associate Johnny Vegas with Mr. Porky Pork Scratchings, but he's talking about Johnny Vegas.
I think I've definitely seen something to do with his mum mentioning the name of this person. But anyway, I said earlier on in a video,
The other man that was in the Airbnb, the man that we haven't seen, the phantom third man, you know.
that I heard from very early on that there was something to do with a watch. Somebody nicked a watch.
Body shaming? No, I don't know what Mr. Porky looks like. I meant, like, they've given him a nickname, hasn't they? And I can't remember it. In my brain, Johnny Vegas. Oh, I might be body shaming Johnny Vegas. I don't know. Johnny Porky. I don't know why. I just consider him like Mr. Porky. I don't know.
And then this guy's come out today and he's talking about...
He's not Porky. If he's looking at me and thinking he should murder me, I'm not worth murdering. He's not Porky.
There being a Snapchat from Jay to his mates. This is what I saw really early on. This is a picture from a Facebook post. I think it was on the 21st of June.
This is madness, this is.
So this is what I saw very early on. It's a Facebook post. You can
This isn't it. We're going to see a watch in a minute. You wait.
see. It's 21st of June. And it was saying, thinking last night about this Rolex story. Who in the right mind would take off a 30 grand Rolex and
Agree, who would take off a Rolex? But it'd have to be during a fight, wouldn't
put
it?
it on the side? Well, evidently today it's come out that it wasn't a Rolex. It was something called an AP. And keep watching because I've got a video.
But this is the problem, isn't it? Is that it's always been a Rolex and now it's an AP.
That might incriminate or certain.
Like, it's funny to me that you've got between the social media posts that I've highlighted or have been highlighted there, and what Mark Williams Thomas is saying or doing, and this, you've actually got a full story. Social media has solved the case, but it needs to all be the same and consistent and make sense. So has it solved the case really? But like, but this is something like, you know, I might as well just show this. Like, I might as well just show it and critique it as a counterpoint to what we've done yesterday.
Coincidence? I don't know.
That's it. Audemars Piguet. I'd say Piaget. I'd put an A in it. You know, I say Madeleine. Piguet. Piaget. Yeah. Piaget. I say Piaget. I don't know why.
Okay, so this is an AP. It's a Swiss watch. It's called Audemars Piguet. Audemars.
I will say, Nick, right, if Nick's watching, or, he's worried about me saying he might be an agent, like, I was only saying that because we're talking about conspiracies on this and the way people look at people and stuff like that. I was only saying it as campfire thinking. I don't think Nick is necessarily an agent. Like, I'm just looking at him on face value on TikTok, and I would also counter what I want to provide that counterbalance, say I don't just think Nick is just the most wonderful person in the world just because I've seen one video of him that seems interesting. I think he's made a reasonable video here. It is just social media conspiracy, or I say conspiracy, it's a funny word, like conjecture, gossip. Some of that could end up being true, but you can't say if any of it becomes true, conspiracy theories are good because they become true. It's not that it was a conspiracy theory and now it's the truth. It's that it was always the truth, but it was in with the conspiracy theories because it was reported in and amongst all of that nonsense. So, yeah, carry on.
These are about 30 to 50,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Make sure you just look at this. Look at the shape of it. The stainless steel.
I get it.
Wait till you see what I'm going to show you.
Look at that. That's the watch. That's the watch.
Okay. This is a picture of an AP.
That's the watch.
That was put on somebody's Instagram.
Instagram?
Somebody whose name has appeared over the last few days has been...
He's talking about... what's his name? Mr... Not Mr... He's talking about...
being one of the last people to have seen Jay. So I did a little bit more digging. And I found it was actually part of an Instagram reel. Let me show you.
Listen, I know that drugs... People are saying it in chat again. I know that drugs slang, and like, if I was to buy a kilo of cocaine, I wouldn't go and say to the dealer, "Excuse me, do you have a kilo of cocaine?" I'd say, "Have you got a box? Can I take 2 boxes?" Or something like that, wouldn't I? I know that Rolexes could be drug code. I want a Rolex, which means bring me like half a kilo of cocaine, maybe that. And I know that you do get ecstasy tablets that are Rolexes. I've like literally seen them. You get like loads of different kinds of ecstasy tablets though. Like you get them shaped like all different and named all different things. So generally there's a more overarching, nickname for general ecstasy tablets because they could come in all different types. But in this case, I think the way that it's been reported and the way that now, I don't even know if it's true that Jay stole a watch and if that Snapchat is real and all. That Snapchat could be compiled of a picture of Jay that they've got from his Facebook or from somewhere of him just like in a car with his arm up that looks like he might be showing off a watch, and they've took it and they've put that on it and it's fake. Like, I'm not here upholding this and saying this is the truth. I'm saying this is social media is claiming to have solved the case. This is what they're saying. So. That's the watch. Well, it's a watch, but it's the watch. Is it a real one? I'm not an expert. There's a lot of things I'm not an expert on, and then I'll tell you all about it. But in this case, I'm not, and I'm not. So I'm sure there will be experts who, and I have seen comments critiquing this, who have said it's not a real watch because maybe the words aren't written correctly or this and that. The fine details. Maybe it's not a real one. I don't know. That's the watch though, yeah. And as you see when he turns it over, there's slight scuffing here, but like there's a slightly dirty sort of, little bit of dirt there maybe. But that's the watch, yeah.
Now, that reel was posted on a certain person's Instagram, and it's only their second one in. So it's almost the most recent reel. Now, there aren't a lot of posts on this Instagram account, but there's something really interesting about that video. Go back and have a look at it in a second. That watch was not brand new. It was scratched slightly around the edges, around the bezel.
Once he's finished saying what he's got to say, I will take you back and look at it again if let you decide if you think it was scratched or not. Like.
There, and as the hand turns over, on the actual strap itself. So whoever this person was that's flexing that and saying they just bought this AP, it wasn't a brand new watch. A brand new AP, this style, you're probably talking 50 grand. You'd probably get one of these second hand for 10 quid, which is 10 grand.
He said it there for 10 quid, 10 grand. Like, if that's the case, if that's the second-hand price of that watch, why would anyone buy it for that price on the black market, having known it's just been stolen off someone's wrist and this person's desperate to sell? Wouldn't you just say to them, yeah, I'll take it, but I'll give you 2? 2 or nothing, mate. It's like, we're bad truffers. We've got 2 grand, yeah. 2 grand or nothing. What do you want to do? Take it back to the beach and get, beaten up for it, or try and smuggle it back through airport security? Like, people are out looking for it, mate. The police are on. We'll take it. We'll take it for 2. Like, does he say guys all the time? Oh no, he doesn't say guys. Big up, Cher. So I question that, right? I do question that. Hang on, I'm just trying to get you a picture up. Just trying to get you a picture up off my phone. Off my messages. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, so this is a picture of the Instagram. When I say a picture of the Instagram, I mean, I don't know, do I? I'm not on Instagram. This is a picture that someone posted on social media of the Instagram. And I suppose my due diligence, I should now go and, research this Instagram. My guess would be they'd remove this now. It says work hard, play later, -6, Toronto, Canada. Apparently they did a live to say they are not the person. They are not this person. And they were doing it in an American accent. And apparently, this is all in comments on social media. The comments said that they didn't believe it was an American accent. It's a fake American accent. But that's the watch. And that's this is where this has come from. Instagram. Someone's wearing the watch. Work hard, play later. They do a bit of travel themselves. And they've got the watch on. Okay. Go back to Nick's video.
If somebody needed to get rid of it quickly, I don't know. Like I've said, I'm not going to mention who this Instagram account is from, but this person is currently in Malta. I'm sure that the TikTok sleuths out there will be able to go and do a bit of digging.
They have.
All of this information is out there. But like I say,
So,
I've been gripped
I wonder where he got it from, though.
by this
I'm telling you where I'm getting it from, him. I wonder where he got it from. Just Reddit, maybe, or...
entire, I don't know what you want to call it, mystery, horror. It's not good either way. And I've watched an awful lot of videos. In fact, I've probably stayed up far
He's watched loads of videos.
too late watching these.
But with information that I've never heard before.
And I've been engrossed by it. I haven't seen this video.
Oh, he hasn't seen this information anywhere.
Have a look at what Jay's Snapchat was. And he says, I've just stolen an AP.
And it connects it. So, as I said with the Mark Williams thing, it's like I expected today, the day after the Mark Williams thing, we'd get another jigsaw piece to put in. And this one, like the other post, is another jigsaw piece to put in, isn't it? Again, from social media. Whether it fits nicely or not, it's another jigsaw piece to put in. I should also have... Because people want to know this. Was there not an AP watch named? Johnny Vegas not showing off his AP watch on Instagram post. Sorry, Johnny Vegas showing off his... Clicked on it. Johnny Vegas showing off his AP watch on Instagram post. Weird posts on Johnny Vegas Instagram. Was Jay not seen with him? Where's it gone? Show more. This is from David. Democracy is freedom with responsibility, David says. Save our children. True crime news is his interest. So I have fewer worries. I mean, there's definitely politics involved there. Democracy and stuff. Because conspiracies he's talking about there. Vote reform. There you go, vote reform. So we've got another strong opinion there, vote reform, and another very viral post about Jay Slater, like right on the Jay Slater thing. This time they want you to vote reform. Like, so we've got 3 of them now. We've all got the same politics, but they're also big on social media in this moment, on this viral story, pumping out information that's like underground social media information, helping to, you know, it's also this, isn't it? So funny combination again, but a combination nonetheless. Little pattern emerging there. If I was doing campfire thinking, I might go so far as to say, like, you know, get everyone's attention, tell them to vote reform. I don't know. But yeah, so that's David's thing. This is the post. Is he pretending to be American, they say? Talking about Johnny Vegas. Weird him trying to show that, weird him trying to throw that scent when Lucy mentioned 911. The real Johnny Vegas, his face blocked out in his pics. And then you've got this video, which doesn't have sound. Usually a video with no sound doesn't do very well. On YouTube, a video with no sound won't do very well. I'll tell you why, because as soon as it starts, most people, even if it's interesting, don't want to read a load of words. So what they'll do is they'll say, oh, has it got any sound? And like, some of them will be put off enough to just click off. Some of them will. Some of them will skip through it to just see the words, oh, I don't want to wait, I've read that, skip. I don't want to wait, I've read that, skip. And then some of them will skip through it. And what that'll do to your algorithm and your, you know, your replayability, your algorithm, is it will absolutely destroy it. So it won't get served to a lot of people. Doesn't matter how good the content is. If it's got no sound and it's all words, it doesn't usually do as well on social media. Maybe this is a slight difference because it's only a 40-second video, but this is done quite well on social media, this one. So this is these pictures, look. This is Johnny Vegas there, look. Johnny Vegas's mate, a black male, and Jay. I mean, that is obviously them, isn't it? As far as I can see. It's definitely them. I can tell because Jay's got a cactus on his... Anyway, look. Oh, we didn't do that yet. We didn't do that yet. Where's my cactuses in chat? Where's my cacti in chat? Where are the cactuses in chat? I want to show you this, and then I want to come to the, you know, social media conclusion, and then I want to finish with a little bit of a different take on something. But an interesting question from New Hobby: was he ever in the mountains? I believe so. I believe so. I think key points of evidence that are going to be critical are going to be things that are not involved with this group when it comes to critiquing this group, yeah? And so that would be if he got picked up in that car and it was public, surely there are other people in the public area that are not connected with the group. Surely there is some sort of camera that has seen a car moving around, you know, like whether they saw him enter into the vehicle or not, they could confirm the vehicle was travelling certain places, you know, stuff like that. You've got the testimony of the lady that ran the Airbnb, and if it is a county line style operation, she's not necessarily been enlisted in that. Also, again, a social media one. There's a social media one that suggests that they booked that Airbnb the night before because they needed, or that night because they needed somewhere to go. But I don't know about that. Cactus in chat. 1 cactus equals 1. What are we doing today? 1 cactus equals 1 Rolex, or AP. 1 cactus equals 1 Rolex for Jay. So if you could put your cactuses in chat. So this is Johnny Vegas and Johnny Vegas's mate. There it is, proven apparently. Next we have, possibly from the same sequence, Johnny Vegas and Johnny Vegas's mate. He's got his hand covering his face there, Johnny Vegas. Whomever this is, or, you know, whatever. Johnny Vegas and Johnny Vegas's mate. This is other black male, but that looks a lot like... that looks a lot like him, doesn't it? Kasim. And I don't know whether that is an Arabic name, a Somalian name. You know, I don't know about the exact ethnicity, but black is a fair description, I suppose. It's quite dark in the club. Jay's there, look. Jay's there. And he's got his thumb up, like that. This guy's there. So, if this is Kasim, it was reported that he wasn't at the event and he was just drinking in the bars out and around, wasn't it? And this would counter that because it looks like they're actually in the event. So, this is Johnny Vegas's mate. Actually, they've got their TikToks on it, so I should allow them the merit of having their TikToks. I mean, apparently it's Johnny Vegas's mate. I mean, what do I know about it? That's what they've said on TikTok. This is Lucy and another other black male and Johnny Vegas. But again, where, how? There aren't many receipts here. Like, this is, I think people believe this is a receipt, but it's very vague again. Apparently that's them. And this would be playing into the story that they've had this discussion later on about losing the bag. Bear in mind, I've never seen a picture of Jay with a bag, and I don't see Lucy with a bag either, considering she's supposed to also have a bag. Maybe they've handed the bags over at this point. That's Brandon, Hodgie, and Brad. This Brad you've seen in an interview. This fellow, you haven't seen him much in the interviews, but he's in some of the photographs on their holidays with them. He's another friend. He's the other friend. But assuming that's them, because you can't see their faces. And I don't know where they were or anything. It's just a picture of them. This is Lucy. Look. Social media solved the case. This is interesting though, look, because this is legit. This is from Pension Player, sorry, don't know French. Cala de Paloma. This is the hotel with the blanket on the bed. And that looks like the blanket Jay Slater was wrapped up in. So if this is the hotel that Jay Slater had the blanket off and was wrapped up in, fair enough. Yeah, like finding that on TripAdvisor and finding the picture of the blanket, that's a good find. I will clap my hands and say, as long as that is legit and it's not just a mock-up, which I'm assuming it's not, but you know, that's that, yeah. So we're going to say that's, and apparently this is where Lucy stayed, in exactly that place. So that's lucky, although I don't know if it is where she stayed.
Someone sent tippies.
Big ups, thank you.
Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thank you very much for that. It gives me a chance to stretch. Like, I'd have to go on TripAdvisor, find that place, and verify that. Do you want me to do that? Pension Player. Hang on. Google that up. Booking.com. TripAdvisor. Would it be TripAdvisor? It's in Spanish. I might accept the cookies. I'm going to have to accept the cookies because it's in Spanish. So, I don't... What's happening? I just want to see that hotel. Oh, there's loads of them, look. Oh, well, like, you know, I'm not going to do that now. But if you believe it, just based on that, I'm assuming that's true. I mean, I'd have to know where it's from, you know. I'm assuming it's a decent screenshot, but I'd have to. What I would rather have than just a screenshot. If you're sourcing things on the internet, it's not good enough just to say, "Oh, this was from the newspaper" or "This was from TripAdvisor." Just put the URL. Just show me the URL. I'll just type it into my thing, and then I'll go to the. That's the source, isn't it? You actually give people the link so they can get there. But is this something different? Is it Cal La Paloma number 9? Is that what it is? I'm on Spanish TripAdvisor now. So there is work in this if someone wants to do it, to find the, you know, to find that and to confirm it. Oh, there it is. Look, I found it. Okay, got it. I'm glad I do the work. They've Googled it up. Now, this does worry me a little bit because if you Google it up like that quickly, then anyone can Google anything up and like, but I suppose that is the blanket he's wearing, isn't it? Show me the... Well, I saw the picture on Google, didn't I? So I'm happy that it exists and it really is that property. Yeah. I just wanted to know if it was like an Airbnb or if it's like a series of hotels. If it's a hotel chain, then there's going to be a lot of those blankets in the hotel. You know, most of the rooms will have one. There's a lot of different blankets pictured. If it's an Airbnb, then it is... then it's just the one blanket in the Airbnb, isn't it? But it looks like it's a hotel. Doesn't it? It's a property. Some units include a terrace. At the guest house, all units have bed linen and towels. So, like, again, like, I get it, you want to have a property right on the beach to sell your drugs from, but wouldn't you be better off with a private Airbnb than, like, being part of a... Is it a hotel? Or is it, I suppose you might just get a key and it's like a self-catering. But you're in those flats right on the beach. It's a good location. And that's like, you know, a big bag of drugs in that house because everyone's selling them and, you know. That was it though, I just skimmed past the picture, didn't I? That's the picture. I mean, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, it looks just like the blanket that he's got around him, yeah? I don't know if that's where Lucy stayed, but that's what they said. They said Lucy stayed here because Lucy from the United Kingdom reviewed it in 16th of June. And then we've got this one about people screaming on the beach. I wasn't too happy with that. I think that's very, very vague. But they're sticking it in now, aren't they? Lego bricking it in. Social media solved the case. I've been watching his Insta. He's making out he's American to throw people off the scent. She spelled scent wrong, but she's talking now about... Why can't I remember his chuffing name? I want to call him, not Mr. Porky. What's his chuffing name? Johnny Vegas. Johnny Vegas. She's talking about Johnny Vegas again. So check out his pics. So basically, the Instagram account that has got the watch is apparently Johnny Vegas. One of his pics, he's got a sleeve on his left arm, and then he's got a sleeve on his right arm in the other pic. Oh, he's deleted loads of pics. He's got a couple from Tenerife, and they've gone. He lives on TikTok now. He's live on TikTok now with a stupid American accent saying it's not him. Check these pics out, everyone. We'll go and look at his profile on Insta. He's called Work Hard, Play Hard 6_6. The real Johnny Vegas has his face blocked out in his real pics. So, I can't confirm it. And there's that video of the watch. So that's all the Lego bricks, right? All quite closely pieced together. Let's talk about what social media has basically said. And from, you know, going from the start, we've got Jay's gone out there and met up with this drugs gang. He's not really a part of it yet. He's been recruited into it. On arrival, he's been given a bag of drugs. I would have thought he'd have been a runner. Like, I'd have thought he'd have just been told, you know, go and sell drugs. They get them from Lucy, run back and forth. He's not gone in at the $5,000 a week level. He's gone in at the higher up level. He's got his own bag. He's gone out, right, with his big bag of drugs, and he's taken half of them. Yeah, good shout, judgmental. Johnny Vegas is the one with monkey. Go, granddad, me monkey. Monkey's on top of... Oh, monkey, get off, granddad. Get off me, granddad, monkey. Yeah. So, he's gone out. He's got his big bag of drugs, yeah. He's taken half of them. He's lost the other... Where the rest of the bag has gone, I don't know. That's gone. He's having a really bad night. He's been kicked out of a club with some Somalians. And during that process, maybe that happened earlier in the night. Maybe he hadn't lost the bag by then. But during the process of getting kicked out of the club, he's stolen this watch. I am to assume it's come off someone's wrist during a fight. An Eastern European man, a burly Eastern European man, who for some reason did not want to report it to the police. Maybe he's in a drugs gang himself and he's going to get his own retribution. Anyway, he didn't want to report it to the police. He's happy to have just lost his watch on a night out, knowing exactly who took it, or guessing the people that he's had the scuffle with, maybe. maybe. I'm adding in things now, aren't I? I don't want to add in too many things, but I want to just like try and piece together what social media has just told me in so many different parts, including Mark Williams Thomas. You know, all these different things are coming together now, yeah? He has... he's got that watch. He's lost his bag. They've arrived to pick him up. He's upset. Lucy's upset. They're all upset. But the men have took him because he's got a watch, and they're going to take it and him. I'm getting a little bit. They've obviously taken the watch off him because Johnny Vegas has ended up with watch. Johnny Vegas, like all the other people in this crime ring, is happy to post evidence of his crimes on the internet. Instagram now. Instagram.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier.
Jay Slater sent tippies.
From off the fucking
Hey,
1%.
mush just up in the mountains living da vida loca.
Save the 1%.
Want any gear, let me know, mate. Imorph me tits Laura. Say hi to everyone, Illinois be back soon, Chava. Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thanks very much. Type that with cactus the pricks in his thumb as well, so thank you very much, Jay. We'll take that off the 30 grand debt. He got stabbed near the bins. I've seen the video, I just don't factor it in as evidence. I don't want to put it on my show, even if with the social media thing, because I can tell you for why I don't really get that. If they've taken him in a car, then he's bleeding. There's DNA evidence in the car. So, I don't know about that. Unless they went and took him to the Airbnb and got him in that blanket, covered him up first and all that. I just, you know, apparently the watch says the 7th, yeah. I don't know what that means. Like, you mean it's a different date, therefore it can't possibly be related, sort of thing, yeah? Although you can change the date on the watch, but yeah, the watch says the 7th. I've also seen people critique. I was going to come to the critique in a minute. I just want to give you the. I've been doing the critique along the way. Some people suggest this doesn't look like a real watch either, but also, like, if you were trying to make a fake story or a strange story in the media, get people's attention or whatever, you could literally just get a watch and post a video of it. It doesn't mean that this is the watch. It's a watch, and it's not a Rolex. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that it says the 7th. I'll agree with you. So the Jay's got the watch. He's lost the bag. I don't know if he's been stabbed in the leg on the beach. If you want to throw that in, we can throw that in. He's been stabbed in the leg on the beach as well. And then they've got him in the car. These people say still to this day that they're his friend as well, which is interesting. Like, they're not critiquing that he's gone in the car with them. He's gone in the car up to the mountains, and he's only stayed there an hour. To most of us, we would suggest that would indicate some sort of transaction, whether it be I've gone to buy weed or I've gone to, you know, do something for a short time. And then, like, most of us would suggest that would be a transaction, maybe to collect the cash for this watch. You know, according to the conspiracy, not conspiracy, I suppose, the social media or whatever you want to call it. Conspiracies are where you've got an actual answer in public and people say, no, that's not true, this is the truth. And this isn't necessarily, I think people are confusing. I'm using the word conspiracy a lot myself because there's a lot of conspiracy nutters who throw around ideas and jump into this sort of stuff as well. But conjecture is probably a better word. The conspiracy is that, or I don't know if that's a conspiracy, the stranger idea is to ask where this is coming from and who's putting it in the social media so that we all talk about it and believe it and whether it is the truth or not. You know, that's the more interesting critique of a media. Like, if I was doing media critique, usually I'm looking at someone's video or a piece of media, like a television program, and I can critique it, yeah? But this is an ever-evolving contribution here, contribution there, someone said this, someone said that, and it feels like I'm critiquing a load of gossip, but at the same time it is media, and it's been used to source the media, to contribute to the media, to prop up the mainstream media. Like, it's all part of the same conversation. And we've even had people go out there and search for Jay, whose parents have worked in the media and who seem to want to turn this circus into their own footstep into a media job. So, like, there's a lot of you know, the word media is very strong on this one, isn't it? So it's not a conspiracy if the truth is accurate, yeah. And it's not that alternative ideas are all conspiracies. That's not true either. But it's also, you want to be careful to say, I believe like, what tends to happen is you've got the mainstream narrative, and then people say, well, I'm not going to believe that because it's the mainstream. This is how I'll talk about that in a minute, actually. But by getting you down the rabbit hole and not having you question the narrative that you're now being fed, like, we should question this narrative even more hard than the mainstream, because this has far less, or the mainstream's not that good either anymore, but this should have far less credibility. Well, it does have far less credibility at the moment. It's just a TikTok post or a thing post of a watch. Like, it doesn't have as much credibility or backing or validity is the word, validity, until you can evidence things. So we take it for granted that evidencing is being done by the traditional journalists, and more we see that it's not. But yeah, I agree, due process is lost, yeah. And that's why I'm saying it's so interesting, is because in the modern world, we as people are not, like, we're not going to be analytical and observe due process and require due process. We're not judges, but we are required to judge in the court of public opinion, and there are no police, there are no prosecution and defence. What there actually is our public opinion and the stuff that's pumped out in the media by mainstream, official sources, unofficial sources. Like Mark Williams Thomas is just a fella out there who does a bit of media, isn't he? So and then we are, there's like a sort of strata, a filtering down or filtering up, like, of different ideas, basically, isn't there? And we're all part of it as well. So yeah, so the official story, like I say, sorry, the unofficial, the social media story is that he's gone up that mountain willingly, even though he's lost the bag and he could be fearing for his life. Maybe he thinks he's selling this watch and everything's okay. If he's lost the bag, he doesn't need to get the cash for the watch, because they just take the watch and say, thanks for the watch, fuck off, you've lost the bag. There's still all this big question mark about the connection between the watch and the bag. Like, it's like we've got two stories almost, isn't it? We've got the lost the bag story, where he's been taken off and told off, and then we've got the watch story, where he's been taken because he's celebrating his trip up there. It's his opportunity to wow the bosses with his extra bit of work and provide them with an expensive watch. Again, there's a problem with this, which is that if you're drug dealing on the strip, yeah, I know that he's supposed to have taken like 300 ecstasy tablets and be a bit of a live wire, but if you're drug dealing on the strip and you also steal things off other tourists, then the police might start to get their back up, and that sort of behaviour might not wow the bosses, it might anger the bosses. Anyway, he's gone up there thinking he's getting 10 grand. For whatever reason, he's left the apartment either with or without 10 grand, without the watch, because this man's wearing it now. And then he's walked off, because this isn't questioned either, is it? Even amongst the social media. Like, he's walked off, he's been on the phone to or is it that social media think they're all faking this now? This walk-off. Like, the walk-off has to be faked, because they all know they're going to die as well. So they faked that he's walked off, and they've murdered him and thrown his phone in a bush. That's what it is, isn't it? They faked the walk-off. I don't know how they faked the witness testimony from that woman. So maybe maybe that woman is in on it as well. But I'm just going with this. And presumably they've driven up and thrown his phone off into the bushes. Again, I'm not sure why they would draw attention to their location up there, because it's still quite close to their own location. Or he's run off because he's scared and he's gone and hidden in the bushes. Ultimately, he's gone in those bushes, dead or alive. Maybe he's left this property and the person whose watch it is has turned up, and they followed him up the road and got hold of him and taken him off in the bushes, and they've murdered him. But between the person who's wearing this watch and the person who lost the watch, someone's murdered him and he's dead in the bushes, and it's because he either lost the drugs or stole the watch. I'm just saying it straight, like social media is saying it as well. I'm not trying to add or, because it's one or the other or something, but it's solved now. I don't think it will be solved now, really. I think what will happen is that you'll get another piece of information tomorrow and another piece of information the next day. And, you'll keep getting pieces of information until this story burns itself out and there's a new one on the agenda. The way I can see it. This does seem to be strange, though, because whilst it seems like social media has solved the case and have got a story that you can follow, their narrative, even social media's plus the bit of mainstream or whatever, the narrative isn't consistent, and the people who've come forward as witnesses, as having evidence, haven't really come forward, and it's all still hearsay. The only things that we do have that's new evidence here is a photograph of somebody wearing a watch, or a video of someone wearing a watch. We've got a photograph of some people outside a club that may or may not be Jay Slater. We don't have the metadata for that to validate where it's from or anything. And we've got the testimony of people who are anonymous on the internet who say this and this and this. Right, we all agreed with that, yeah? Big ups. I think I just saw someone get moderated for talking about another channel. I didn't do the moderating, but please don't. Or did you retract the message? I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. I thought I just saw someone talking about another channel and it disappeared. I don't watch that channel. I'm not like positive or negative about them. I'm just not aware of their style of content, so I wouldn't know what really was the critique. So, and that's not me saying I don't watch them because I'm just being mean about them. I just literally, I don't watch all other channels, so I'm not watching everyone else's channel to know what was being said there. You didn't moderate anything. Okay, so they must have put up a comment and then deleted it, or maybe I just can't see it anymore. Don't worry. The watch says the 7th, and you didn't moderate anything. Yeah, the watch says the 7th. Yeah, we all agree on that. So, people have got opinions. I'm sure there's lots of opinions in the comments here as well about this. That's on this watch video. Apparently, Johnny Vegas doesn't have his face blocked on his Insta. All you have to do is type Johnny Vegas on Instagram and look for the account Work Hard Play Later 6 to see his face and him talking in a clearly American accent. The watch he's sporting is an AP, but it's either fake or battered, says Games Gone. So, there's different opinions, aren't there? The watch isn't real, blatantly faking that Insta video. Looks nothing like the Instagram dude. Christ, Johnny Vegas lost some weight, good on the lad. But I think they're talking about Johnny Vegas, the real Johnny Vegas, There's a meme of a picture of Johnny Vegas. There it is. He really doesn't block out his pics on TikTok or Insta. This is the real Johnny Vegas, and there's his name, and I don't really want to be doxing people necessarily at this stage. But there's a picture of that man. Sorry, I wanted to just confirm that man and this man. I mean, I'm basically what I'm trying to do is sum up what social media is saying before I just quickly critique it, right? Well, I've been critiquing it all the way, haven't I? I've been critiquing it all the way, and I want to finish on something slightly interesting as well. But we're saying that. I'm not saying. Social media is saying that I can't get my head around it quite, yeah, that Kasim and Johnny Vegas murdered him, or there's still an outside. I don't think social media is saying that the Eastern European guy murdered him. I don't think they're saying that, but there's an outside chance that they've brought in the Eastern European guy to exact his revenge. They haven't given him his watch back, so maybe not. But rather than have the Eastern European guy come around there and ask them questions, maybe they've handed him over to him. Maybe he's a big player. But this is all me now, not social media. Now, social media haven't factored in the Eastern European as coming up and exacting vengeance. All we've really got as... Like, what's interesting about this solving of the case is that we've put all these pieces together, but we haven't pointed at anyone as a murderer. Although I think Mark Williams-Thomas is heavily pointing at these two men, and social media appears to be heavily pointing at Johnny Vegas. Yeah? And the walk out into the desert and leave you there is the thing, isn't it? Because going back to this is confusing me yesterday. I was taking it as accepted evidence that if you follow the phone pings, we've gone north up the hill. Well, apparently he walked north up the hill, didn't he? So either someone's caught up with him and walked him off out down here, or he's afraid of being caught up with, so he's decided to hide out down here. Some people suggested he might have gone up to the viewing point, which is up here. Maybe tried to take a route back round, like in a circle, but yeah, we've got him coming up into this area. And it doesn't make any sense, because if you look at the island, like, it's not the direction he wants to go. Some people suggested he might be going to the beach so he can walk along the beach to get back. You know, but even though it sounds relatively naive but believable, if you look at the landscape, which we did yesterday, we're talking about taking a trek down, like, you can't see the beach, you know? All you can see is just rugged terrain. Where am I? You choose to come down here. It's this road that gives you access to Jay's last location, according to the ping. So you go down there, and like, where you're not looking at the beach there. You know, there's no, unless you are just aware of geography and you think the sea is over there, therefore. But this doesn't look like a path down to a beach, and it doesn't look like an easy walk along the beach to get back, does it? So, and bearing in mind the next available civilization is just up the road by, like, you can walk this road for an hour and you get to the next place where there's a bus stop and a bar, maybe other amenities along the way. So already passed through one. There are little properties down there, but again, I said it yesterday, I'll factor it in today as the social media solve. He's come up here and been walked down there and then left down there. Yeah, I'm laughing about it, but you know what I mean? Like in a sort of, you know, in Casino where Joe Pesci has to dig his own grave and then they beat him up with the baseball bats. Like, that's the social media solve, isn't it? Or he's gone down there and hidden and he hasn't come out yet. Probably because he can't, because he's run out of water and food. But and the people that have done it are either the people from the Airbnb, which is a weird one as well, because the Airbnb, I'm sure they would have, or I'm saying sure, I'm thinking they would have, what's the word? They would have, I'm thinking they would have an alibi for the time that Jay is on the phone to those people, supposedly on the phone to those people, that they're not out there in the woods themselves murdering him. The Eastern European guy can't be discounted in terms of, if he's lost his watch, he's most aggrieved. Maybe he's come up this way, heard that Jay's up there, seen his Snapchats, chased him up the road and grabbed him. All right, Mink. Social media solves this, is of course, and spoiler alert for a 20-year-old film. What was I going to say? Like, I see what you're saying, poor kid and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying this is the truth. This is quite a fantastic story in a way, because even if you were doing these operations on this mountain, like with your drug deals, what you've done is you've committed murder in a place that you might get busted, and like for the sake of a bag of pills, like all the rest, like people are getting paid 25 grand just to be there, and you've lost six grand's not a huge loss. If you're dealing with like some random African immigrant and you're a drugs gang, you might bury them out here. But if you're dealing with a British lad who's going to go missing and there's going to be trouble and problems, you might consider your options. you know, a slap on the wrist. But then again, how are you going to kick him out of the organisation? Like, you know, and let everyone else know that to make to make an example of him. So for that, maybe the stab in the leg on the beach is better, but then you're on the camera on the beach, so that's not better. Like, you know, maybe bringing him up here and cutting off his hands better or something, but actually murdering him and then having all this heat, it's a bit of a strange move in my opinion, but then not everyone's very smart, are they? I don't believe the stabbing video. I think the person that brought it to light as well, the YouTube channel called Just Gone Viral, was desperate to go viral during the Nicola Bulley case to the point where they published pictures of previous deaths and claimed they were Nicola Bulley, or at least had them in the thumbnails of their Nicola Bulley videos, and that was sick. And I immediately wrote them off because I could see they were trying to put fake information or misinformation or spurious information out into the world with the Nicola Bulley case. And I'm happy to say that because I know it happened. I think I've probably got a screenshot of it, you know, because I took a screenshot of it to tell somebody and show somebody. So that'll be in my Nicola Bulley files, and they know they did it as well. So I wouldn't trust anything that had come from there. Yeah, so I want to do a critique on this. I've done a bit of critique along the way, but I want to do a bit of a critique on this in a different sort of way. I want to take you back because, like, yeah, I will finish off now. This is a shorter video, isn't it? A shorter video. But I want to, like, you know, I've said this might not be the case. This is social media. This is Mark Williams Thomas. This is a combination of that. And, oh, yeah, I wanted to say about the police. Go on, out you go. Getting distracted now. The police apparently did a forensic search on the property. Well, I'm not sure if that's the case yet. As in the UK, GB News again, look, with the forensics line, the Mirror with the forensics line, the Independent not so much. I remember some of these, and this is only yesterday, but I remember some of these news outlets not saying forensic search because, like the Mirror said, forensic clothing spotted inside Jay Slater. You've got to be careful to report the truth and not jump to conclusions, right? As in the Nicola Bulley case, I do not know if the police did forensic investigation of that property. With the Nicola Bulley case, I don't know if they did it in Nicky's house. Can't say for sure about that. It was a missing person, not a crime. Apparently now they've done a search. Well, they've been in the property for 2 days. Sorry, 2 hours. That's for sure. When they left the property, they were asked, "What are you doing?" They were in plain clothes and apparently wearing a forensic style, I'm going to say, not a definite forensic, but a covering on their shoes. I mean, maybe that's normal to cover their shoes when they go in properties that they're having a look around. You know, maybe it's normal to put on the shoes and the gloves, like most police in the movies do. I don't know. Maybe it's not normal. Maybe it is a forensic. This one says a forensic officer in Massacre Today. A forensic officer. But is that confirmed? Because the quote that they gave to the news was, if you want information, then ask the media centre. Another officer seen chatting to a local outside the Airbnb, not wearing the forensic shoes, but chatting to a local. What I read was that a reporter had asked them if they were what they were doing, and the police had said, "Go and ask the media centre." So the police have been at the property. They've been inside for 2 hours. It could be simply that they wanted to ask some questions, right, and the person at the property is at the property, so they've said, "Come inside, let's answer some questions, talk." It could be all sorts. There is a possibility it could be forensic tests. Plainclothes officers don't tend to do extensive forensic tests. They tend to be detectives, especially because they're plain clothes. That gives them the ability to just wear what they want, go around, and then they can go and gather evidence. So I'm thinking they've not done a forensic search of the property in terms of every nook and cranny in the way that you would expect a forensics team. That's not what they are. They haven't got a big kit and they haven't got all the vials and all the bags, and that's not what's happened here. You haven't seen them come out with bags and bags of swabs and this one's from the wall and this one. You haven't seen that. However, 2 days running apparently. Okay, if they've done more forensic searches since then, fair enough, right? But what I would say You know, I just think, I'm just saying, like, yesterday they reported forensic tests have been doing, and people reported it on social media, but actually the truth is that no one actually said that. Like, the police officers were wearing blue slip-ons on their shoes, and that's enough for us all to say forensic tests are being done, and it's not, right? But what I would say is that if you're dealing in this crime and you're getting this information, people are assuming they've gone in there to swab for Jay's DNA. Now, if you find Jay's DNA, a good place to start would be the door handle or the place that he was standing in the photographs, yeah? If you find Jay's DNA, then good, it proves he's there. That's one aspect. If you don't find his DNA, it doesn't prove that he's not there. You can't prove a negative in that way. He could still have been there, but you didn't find his DNA. There's another thing that they could be looking for, a very important thing, and a very easy thing for even detectives to go around with their swabs and to check, which is drugs. You would probably look on the tables and you'd probably look on the surfaces to see if you could swab for drugs, wouldn't you? Because you reports this location has been used as a property for dealing drugs. If the Jay Slater case and the information, not social media now, but whatever information these people are getting, relates to a drugs network, and they're going to do their proper detective work and not just be like paid off by the drug network, then they might be in there looking for signs of drugs. And if they find that, that might be important information. Hello, Dawn. I don't go with conspiracy theories. That's what I'm explaining today. And thank you for saying I got the case so wrong. I don't believe so. I've got further information that you don't know that makes me think I'm even more on the right lines. So Nicola Bulley case solved is, in my opinion, a very good piece of media. And Nicola Bulley gin is a very interesting video as well. What do you think I got wrong? Is it because I said Paul Ansell might have done a murder? Because that was very early days, and that's me reacting to him and doing body language, which is an opinion on his body language as to my concerns for his body language. I don't necessarily believe the same thing I believed on the day that I watched that as I do a year and a half down the line with deeper research. And I have done deeper research, and it is available on the internet, at least the tip of that iceberg. It's worth watching. So have they done drug swabs? Are they looking to bust a drugs gang? You know, is that what's happening here? If that's the case, like, you know, very interesting. You know, very interesting. I'm going to do a critique that I want to do to finish off. I wanted to say that. Is there anything else I want to say about this before I move on to my final critique section or my final point section? Maybe I'll take a few more questions or whatever if you've got anything important. Say my final bit and then sign off. Yeah, BCTV. I've heard Rolex used as... I know that it's a brand of ecstasy pill, but I've also heard it used to refer to boxes of cocaine, like a brand of cocaine. Like they used to brand cocaine with like labels and stuff, and like, you know, Rolex was a cocaine thing, maybe. Yeah, but even then, I'm believing that. I don't think in today's world on that mountain those people are referring to Rolex pills. I don't even think they're referring to a Rolex watch, to be honest, because the only person that said that is Mark Williams Thomas. Like, even he reported that Jay was saying it, and Jay hasn't been saying it. Not as far as we've seen. The evidence that we've been shown, even if you can believe the Snapchat, which Mark Williams Thomas said was that there was a Snapchat. He didn't show it, but he said there was one. That's an AP, not a Rolex. So there's too many things that don't quite tie in, but you know. Thanks, Lottie. Thanks. How did the blanket get to the Airbnb? My assumption would be that after Jay's been partying on the strip, he's gone back to the property, and then from there, gone with the men. That would be the best explanation of that, because I doubt people would be bringing a blanket out onto the streets, unless people want to go with the stabbing. And I mean, since we're in conspiracy world, or not conspiracy world, since we're in social media world or whatever, the idea that he'd been stabbed, maybe the blanket had been taken to cover the seats so that they didn't get blood on them. You know, someone had run back to the Airbnb to get a blanket. Maybe that Airbnb has a similar blanket and they're just common on the island in the local shop. Because listen, if you're buying blankets for an Airbnb on Tenerife, you could be doing the Amazon thing, or there might be a shop up the road on the strip that does good blankets for all the Airbnbs, and they do you a discount and everyone gets the same blankets. We haven't had a good look. We jumped to a lot of conclusions. That might not be the only blanket on the island, and it might not be the only watch in existence. But yeah, I wanted to bring up that police thing. I wanted to make sure I'd said that, because I had opinions on that, which is that I think the police are doing a good job behind the scenes. Just with Nicola Bulley, I think I'm more keen to hear what they think and say. And I think that the media circus that's gone on has kind of like, if they were tentative about the way they approached the media before, I think they just don't give a shit. I just don't. What, after seeing the Madeleine, like they probably sat in their offices and said, well, this has the stink of Madeleine McCann about it. When that Mark Williams Thomas comes up here, you fucking shut him right down and don't talk to him. We're doing our job and we're not involved in that media. We don't have any need to sell papers in Britain. Don't start trying to sell papers in Britain. If I see anyone trying to sell papers in Britain, fucking stop it. I think they'll be doing their job quietly behind the scenes, and the fact that the family were brought in to answer some questions again the other day, or to talk to them, was interesting. Because, of course, Mark Williams Thomas is pointing away from the family. All of this drugs conspiracy nonsense, ultimately it sees Jay getting wrapped up in someone else's big drugs conspiracy, and not the family. They're not involved. And people have suggested the family have profited on it and been part of it in the past through the social media. They've said that Jay has been, like, that they know about Jay's involvement. But again, like, it puts his parents as just sad parents, and all that GoFundMe money and all that, you know, let's help find Jay. And it doesn't explore the angle that there could be any guilt or anything like that. Like, people have suggested, and this is where we can get into this now, I suppose. This is where we can get into this, right? This is where we can get into this. So, question everything, good comment in chat. Going back to machete wielding. Jay Slater special going. In one of the reports, it describes Jay as having had to hide from people. Like, Jay's not a very, like, big, tall, strong, athletic, burly sort of chap, is he? It described him as a 12-year-old as having to hide from people under a car in his estate. People have put that in and said that, you know, even as a young age, he was involved in bad stuff. But he was hiding from it under a car. Jumped out of a car and attacked them when he was just 12 years old. Right? You're a 12-year-old, you might be, you know, a drug runner for a bad gang, and you might be getting attacked or whatever. Like, you live in a part of the world where people jump out of cars and shit goes on, and you're out in the streets, yeah? And you stick with your mates and you hide under a car, and that's bad, isn't it? Like, the people who jumped out of the car are definitely much older than you, and they're beating on 12-year-olds. So, absolutely terrified. Yeah, I think he probably would be, yeah? Really shook up, he had a lump on his head. They were kicking him when they were on the ground. There are gangs of youths in Old Whistle, but Jay wasn't involved in that. He'd only been out of the house half an hour, she says. Oh, but you can't trust her, he's a bad scally, isn't he? Like, he's a young lad who's grown up in an area where people go out and do bits and pieces, yeah? It doesn't make him Reggie Cray or whatever. It doesn't make him into a horrible gangster. He'd gone through a trauma when he's young, been scared, been worried about it. The machete stuff, yeah? This is the guy, isn't it, that he hit with the machete. Well, we don't know if Jay wielded a machete, do we? There was a machete involved, there was a gang of them. The report from the court wouldn't name them individually and what they did because they were protected, as far as I read. So I'm not going to go with social media stuff here. I'm going to go with what I read about what the court said, because if you're under a certain age, you know. So did he wield a machete or not? I'm going to just put a question mark. But well, I'd seen another article with a picture of this guy, wearing a Gucci bag. Like, he looks a little bit rough and ready himself, doesn't he? You know, he looks a little bit stronger than Jay. Maybe this is a more recent picture. He's got his big chain round him. You know, if Jay's a scally on the strip, you know, on the streets, going around being a scally, being a bad man, then shaved head, haircut, the thing, like, you know, it fits the same sort of picture, doesn't it? It fits the same sort of picture. Like, this is the victim of that crime. This one's the victim. This picture of Jay on holiday with his friends, that's his mate with his arm around him. He's a bit bigger, and Jay's quite diminutive compared to him. Like, he's a bit smaller frame, yeah? So maybe Jay feels worried and needs a weapon. When this happened, you've got the story of a bunch of scallies set upon this man, and that he was dragged and attacked, and they chased him out, they lured him out, and they attacked him, yeah? That's the story you've got. They were at an abandoned property slightly outside of the town. This is where I wanted to get this all lined up. I should have the picture of this. I should have the picture. And I'm very quickly just going to abandoned J. Slater party attack. Can we get the picture of the abandoned property that they were at? I've got it somewhere in my notes for my video that I was going to make. Here we are. Got it here. So I was going to save this, but this is interesting, and I believe it's important, so I'll say it now. This is the abandoned paper mill where 100 kids would gather. This is Lancashire news again. Lancashire. Shouts out Lancashire. Big up Eamon Holmes. This is the abandoned paper mill where 100 kids would gather for a party that got seriously out of hand. They push themselves through a little fence and they meet up and they come to this place and they have a party. It looks a bit rough, doesn't it? An abandoned paper mill. But when I was young, we used to go out into the fields. I didn't live in such an urban surrounding area, but we'd go out in the fields, we'd get our decks out, we'd have a party. This doesn't scream to me like horrible, nasty gangsters. This is just kids going out and finding a space to do their thing, yeah? And that's the paper mill where they were all at. Jay and his friends were in this location having their own little secret private party. Some took drugs there. They might have had the decks there. That looks to me, and I didn't live exactly the same life, but that looks like if I was 15, that looks like it would be quite attractive and quite a lot of fun. And if it was me and my mates and we took our gang and just had our mates, and not a gang like a drugs gang, just our mates, you know, we're all like living normal lives around here, yeah? That looks like the sort of place you might go and hang out as a bunch of young kids doing your thing, yeah? Oh, look, bad man, smoking a thing, man, bad man. Yeah, obviously no one's a real, like, hardcore gangster, though, are they? They're quite young lads, aren't they? They snuck in with their mates. This one is the picture that stands out the most to me. He doesn't look like a mafia bad man. He looks like quite a young lad. And giving young people the opportunity, even if they make a mistake, you know, to have their lives turn out well rather than write them off is quite important. I don't think these lads, in my heart, before the news, before his mum, before the GoFundMe, before the drugs, before the Ibiza, before the Tenerife, and I'm not sure, before all that stuff got put in my head, if I saw this, and it was painted out like they were pretty bad, they chased this guy down and attacked him, right? That's the side for the prosecution, and they were prosecuted for this. That's the argument for the prosecution. The argument for the defence might be different, and the truth might lay somewhere in between. So going right back to this, because this is a machete-wielding, knife-wielding machete thug, this lad. He's one of the gang. This lad. He's on a motorbike there. I don't think it's his bike, because he's obviously 15, yeah? And, like, they might be the worst, meanest gang in Manchester, or they might be on streets where other lads are going around older doing bad things and they feel worried, which is more likely, isn't it? Because at 12 years old, Jay himself went through the trauma of being beaten up in the street by older lads, whether he was involved in the badness or not. They've gone out here, which is not on the streets, it's their own little away place, and they're having a party, right? On the decks, man, innit? Wicked. Like, they're doing their thing. And then what's happened while they're doing their thing out there at their own little party, yeah, is this guy's turned up, quite confident. He's turned up. There are more pictures of him, aren't there? I don't know his background. This is the other picture that I think's interesting. I don't know his background. Biceps, haircut, Gucci bag. I don't know his background. He's turned up. There's been trouble when he's turned up. No one was attacking each other with machetes. He's turned up. He went to the mill to meet a girl. Apparently, did they set him up? Did they set him up? Or was the girl quite happily at the mill with her friends and he said, "You're not staying here with these boys, I'm taking you home. You can't stay with these boys, I'm taking you home. I'm not having this, you can't be here." And grabbed her and took her out. I don't know, I'm not saying that's happened. You don't know that he's been set up. What I'm saying is he's gone there looking for someone, whether to start trouble or to remove them. I believe it was to remove them. I don't know, can't remember, I wasn't there, but from what I read when I was reading through this, he was looking for someone to take them away, wasn't he? Or just looking for someone, right? So he's turned up. I will say, Flat Eric, be careful about terms like pikey, because like travellers exist, and denigrating them with a label like that is I'm going to remove it. Like, it's veering into racism, I think. But there are good travellers and there are bad travellers. There are good people and there are bad people. I understand that. I mean, I'm not going into a big conversation about it. I'm just saying there are good people and there are bad people. So I know that you're not being a bad person by writing that necessarily. It's just a word, but I just have to delete that and just count. I'm just trying to be careful about everything. But I'm trying to paint a different narrative. Remember, question the narrative. The prosecution said this man went there perfectly innocently and was set upon after he got lured there. But it could be that he went there for different reasons and they felt that they needed to defend themselves against someone who was potentially bigger and stronger and had gone there for whatever reasons. Maybe they chased him off, right? Maybe it went too far. Maybe a bunch of young lads got worried and it went too far. I don't know if Jay Slater picked up a bat or a knife or a machete. I don't know. Okay? I know that this guy ended up getting beaten up. And he didn't get beaten up and murdered and thrown in the river. The girl apparently covered him and said, "Leave him alone," and they left him alone. They got to the point where it had gone quite far, maybe too far. And that is what happens when you get a load of young people and shit happens. Sometimes things go a bit far. It got so far that it was criminal and, the police were involved. And it got so far where it nearly ruined these young lads' lives. All of them, obviously. Some of them might have learned a lesson from it. Some of them might have been worse since. Picture them all there. I don't like the one with the dog. I don't like that image. But again, it might be an image of someone with an aggressive dog who's trying to set that dog on you, or someone that's a bit worried and, having to live a life on these streets where he feels vulnerable. So he's got a lovely dog that is trained well and provides him with a measure of security. So what I'm saying is, though, we've been painted a narrative from the start that Jay Slater is a nasty, scally gangster and that he's from the streets and he's a scally, and these people would come round and rob your fucking grandmother and they're shit people and you should throw them in the bin. It's Jeremy Kyle and it's scallies, yeah? And that's the narrative. I'll say, call a spade, and that's born of and seeded by and fueled from this idea that 8 thugs split a boy's head open with a machete, and they are nasty thugs, and they lured him down there. They're vile, nasty thugs, and they've lured him down to split his head, and God help him, he didn't end up dead. But that's a narrative, right? And a different narrative could be that this vile thug went down there to demand money or grab someone up or demand his way or the highway, and they've chased him off and defended themselves, and it's gone too far because they're young lads and they're worried and they're scared, and once things go a bit far, someone's hit him with a thing and they've all gone, fucking hell. You don't know. You don't know. So I'm going to reserve judgment. I've said this on yesterday's episode. I reserve judgment till I get evidence, and interestingly in this one there has been evidence. It's been to court. The facts are the facts, but the narrative what happened on that day, who's a good person, who's a bad person. Are they all good people? Are they all bad people? Is it flashpoints in people's lives, and are they bad for life because of a flashpoint? And again, this other man, I'm not saying Tom is a terrible person here and he's done these horrible things and deserves to get hit in the head. That's not what I'm saying. But overall, as a course of a life, like, he might not be a bad person, and nor might they. Like, they might have had an issue, a scuffle, something got out of hand, and they might have learned from it. Of course, it's options. The other option is they're all involved in drugs gangs since an early age, and you know, it's basically The Sopranos but in Manchester, and this is the new cast coming through. You know, that's possible. It's possible, but that's a narrative that's been produced and built up and fed as well. So yeah, to finish today's episode about YouTube solving the case, or whatever, like, you know, social media solving the case, I just wanted to make that point about narratives and about how you would feel maybe if you'd gone to a party at a paper mill with all your mates and like go and trace J origin stories. And I don't know, this might have been a gang of horrible people at this party, and you might have not wanted your sister to go up there because they'd be fucking doing horrible things. Or it might have been quite benign, and if someone turned up at my free party with my mates in the decks and was doing weird, and like, we don't have security and we are the security, things might get a little bit like eggy, is what I'm saying. And that story, I think, informs everyone's opinion of Jay, and I think it informs the whole narrative about the drugs and the gangs and all of that. You know, to believe that he is a drugs mule and she's Lucy May. This isn't a story of Lucy May here. This is a story of Jay Slater. But to believe all this stuff and the story we've told tonight, you know, that whole line from start to finish of drugs mule and watches and all this, it's all predicated on your belief that he is in fact a moralless hound who would just do random immoral things, and he might just be out to party, defend his mates and party, you know. They did laugh in court, bunch of thugs. I don't know which of them laughed. Usually if you have a gang, a group of lads like that, then some of them are worse than others and some of them are influenced. I'm not defending Jay in court. I'm not defending him on the court of public opinion. Well, I sort of am here. What I'm asking for is for you to consider the narratives that you've been supplied by the mainstream media, because they're convenient and they might not be exactly true. And that's also true of social media and all of them, you know, just to sort of consider it. I don't have WhatsApp money, Jay, sorry. I think I've done a fair point there, haven't I? I think I've made a fair point. I know not everyone's just going to jump along with me there, but I think it's fair to suggest that it's not a case of black and white, even all the way from the past, and that this informs people's opinions on what's happening now and makes it easier to sell ideas. And the ideas we've discussed today, social media solving it, they're not all... Okay, my final takeaway of those ideas, the social media ideas, the solving it, is that they are not consistent, and they don't, as of yet, come to a full and they don't come to a conclusion necessarily. I've offered one, and I think this is the part of the point, isn't it? You seed the ideas, you put the building blocks out there, and then we make up the next bit, and we make up the next bit, and eventually, like, the whole story comes together. And strangely, for me, the mainstream narrative is now coming together from building blocks of gossip from social media. So if Mark Williams Thomas went out there with a 3-day deadline to solve this, has he solved it? Don't know. But under pressure, he has validated certain things from social media. Like, we were able to take a story from social media and piece it together and make it into now the narrative. Apparently there's a video going around now that it's he's been kidnapped and he's been getting punched up and he's getting punched. Well, as I suggested, I think that what I would worry about is if this is a fake narrative, if it's being pumped out. I don't like the word psyops. I think that's a bit of a heavy word and a strange word. But if people are pumping out a narrative, because you see psyops, people would say, oh, it's because the government and this and that. And maybe this, maybe at the time of the general election, Because I've seen every person on the social media that I highlighted today, all three of them, wanted you to vote a certain way. But maybe it's that. But also maybe if there is a really big drugs gang involved, and I say big, I mean bigger than Jay Slater. I mean the people that are supplying. When we talk about drugs gangs, we're piddling around in the weeds here with this case, aren't we, with Jay Slater? Because we're talking about people who sell pills on an island on the holidays. What we should be asking is who's supplying those people with those pills? You know, the two men that were in the Airbnb are not Mr. Big. They've just come out of jail. Where are they getting their supply from? That's the bigger question. You know, those people are the people that are going to be calling shots in the media or hiring someone to go and take control of the family. You know, they're the people that are going to be sending people into the Nicola Bulley case to shut down the narratives and talk to the media, aren't they? But you know what I mean? Like, there's bigger fish to fry there. So ultimately, yeah, this is a story that's been seeded in social media. That seed has fruited and then being almost like, I guess, plucked by the mainstream and presented now. And I do expect, I don't know about that video, I don't expect the video to be very valid. That's not my expectation. But I do expect in the coming days you will see, rather than, I thought this would peter out when the search stopped. I think no search, no police activity, no story, yeah? But instead of that, we had a filling of the void by Mark Williams Thomas, a filling of the void, as he said, which has perpetuated more story. And then today we've got more from social media, and it's just like a sort of tennis game, a sort of back and forth, and keep the ball bouncing. And so I think that you will get the ball bounce a few more times. No, that's what I think will happen. A few more before you get any resolution from the police. And maybe the police won't offer any final resolution, as they don't in some cases, like with Nicola Bulley. So I think you'll see a bit of a batting in the ball. I wonder whether Jay will turn up. I wonder whether his body will be found. Now that you know the watch isn't on it, because before you were worried the watch might be on it. There's 20 grand in the bushes. Now there's no watch. People aren't going to be so desperate to go out there. So I wonder whether he'll even be found. And interesting point there, Zen Bumblebee, a young guy who made bad choices, but if you've never lived in poverty, you shouldn't judge. Yeah, like I understand his past crimes, you know, his things he's been convicted for, they count as crimes and he's been convicted for, and hopefully he's learned from them. But I still don't judge him as like the rumours do of being. I just don't judge him as the rumours do. I just keep my mind open. He might be, like, you know, saying this, I know what people have said, you know, and they've got an egg on about it. The chavs, the scallies. I don't like the chavs and the scallies. I don't like them. Obviously, they'd steal your wallet and nick your AP watch. 30 grand watch that I was wearing out to a dodgy nightclub in Tenerife. Yeah, got 30 grand on my wrist, but I'm holidaying in Tenerife on the strip with all these kids. Maybe he was a Mr. Big in the drugs. Maybe he runs the clubs. I don't know. But the point I was making, yeah, is that I understand that people don't like scallies, and I understand he's been painted as one, but I don't know if that's the truth. And if it's not the truth, then that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Because it's been used to prop up all of the angles on this story. Like, if it went the other way, imagine if you'd met Jay 2 weeks ago and you knew he was a lovely lad. What if you'd met him and you knew he was actually a lovely lad and not a scally? You'd left your purse on the thing and he'd found it and taken it up to the reception and you'd got it back and he'd, oh, thanks, Jay, that was really kind of you. You know, what if you'd done that? Then you would have a completely different perception on everything everyone's saying. Right? So he hasn't done that. That's not in the news. What he has done is he's been involved in an attack on a boy with weapons when he was 16. So now he's a horrible scally, you know? And I think that's that's what I wanted to end on, is to undermine that argument, because that argument is what pairs him to this underworld, which puts him in all this. I don't know about this, and I don't know about whoever they've got above them and whatever, but whether he is doing that and is disappeared for that reason, I don't know either, you know, I guess. That's the social media, though. And it's not just the social media now, it's becoming the media. Because yesterday this was social media, and already today it's the media. That's happening more and more in this case. And I don't want to give you cause to believe everything on Facebook because of it. but I believe it will make more and more people think, oh, I saw that on Facebook. Oh, I saw that on... Oh, I did, yeah. So it's just a thing that's happening in our lives, you know. Right, 9:30. I'm going to go and watch the election results, and I'm on the tractor beam later for anyone who knows what's going on. Most of you won't know about the tractor beam, but I will be on it later. Check me out on Discord. I've got a Discord. I've got social media. I'm at Superchuffer on Twitter. If you haven't subscribed, then basically you're stealing off me at this point. If you haven't subscribed, then basically you're stealing off me like Jay Slater, and I'm going to drive you up into the mountains, and I'm going to throw you onto a cactus. I'm going to take you up and throw you onto a cactus. I don't know if it's too late for you to go and vote now, but if you haven't done that, I'll throw you onto a cactus as well. Nightmare, guys. You can see I'll post when I go live on Twitter or on the Discord. We've got a Discord for that. If you want the information, then request it. Not in a comment though. I can't be asked for comments. Where should I put the Discord? I'll put it somewhere. If you tip me, you get a Discord link on the coffee tippy. So pay to get in, like the clubs that Jay went to. I wonder if like. Oh, I don't want to do any more wondering. I was just going to make some funny wonderings, but yeah, been a good show, and I will be... Oh, God, I forgot about this. Should I finish with this? Just as a little cheeky one. It's a little find. I found this yesterday when I was going through some old videos, or the day before, looking for a particular video that I wanted to find, and I found this. This is a turn up for the books. Do you remember when this happened? You'll all love this. A load of you old school people will love this. Check this out.
I've already been very blunt with Paul, and I've spent a lot of time with Paul and Emma, and just said to them, we've got to potentially be prepared for the worst here. Let's not, like you say on your show, that we're too woke on a lot of things now. We've just got to say it as it is. And I've said to them, we could be looking for a body. We could be looking for a deposition site here. She could have been kidnapped. She could have been being held at a will.
What? She could have been what?
I was with Paul, the partner, and he is pleading with them to actually search in the surrounding buildings. The surrounding area, like I said, should have been beaten down, searched every nook and cranny, every drain, not just focus on the river. It's crazy that we're just saying she's in the river. I may be wrong. She may end up at sea. But for all my experience, this would be the first where I'm actually wrong. If I've already been very blunt with Paul, and I've spent a lot of time with Paul and Emma, and just said to them, we've got to potentially be prepared for the worst here. Let's not, like you say on your show, that we're too woke on a lot of things now. We've just got to say it as it is. And I've said to them, we could be looking for a body. We could be looking for a deposition site here. She could have been kidnapped. She could have been being held at a will. I was with Paul, the partner, and he is pleading with them to actually search in the surrounding.
So you be good. If you can't be good, you're naughty.